Hey y'all, it's Charlotte from J&C Bits. I'm the C in J&C Bits. Let me introduce myself. We are here at our first barrel racing clinic today in Weatherford, Texas at Parker County. They have graciously allowed me to use this arena today to film this first clinic to come to you. Let me introduce myself and my background. I've spent over 30 years training horses and competing professionally. I started out in my career with my parents. Let's go back to them. My mom, Sue Overton Barrington, my dad, Bill Overton and Dude Overton, all of them come from a horse-related background. My mother was a fabulous trainer. She's trained horses all of her life. My dad ropes. He's trained barrel horses, broke horses. He comes from a ranching background. And my stepmother as well. Dude, she was a Arizona circuit qualifier. She's trained horses, ropes. So as you can say, I hit the ground training horses. My first good horse was Orange Smash back in 1994. I won the BFA World Championship futurity on him. He also qualified for the NFR with Martha Josie. On that, I've been blessed with many other athletes, Isagata Bullet Contender, Stretch Easy, Famous Better Be Me, Bad and Fast. So as you can see, I feel like I have the background to talk about bits because in using all those horses, and those are just some of the famous horses that I have trained and dealt with. But in all of that, I've had good horses and I've had bad horses, and I've always said that horses teach you a lot. And you learn, you know, how to bid them, how to make them comfortable and think outside the box. And we'll get to that today. The J in J&C Bit is Jason Pendergast, and I always call him kind of the brains behind the operation. He's kind of the genius that brings you the bits that we can use and use as tools to make us better barrel racers and make our horses comfortable and like their job. He's the one that designs and works with our sponsor team. Our sponsor team includes Becky and Emery Mask, Jackie Jatslaw, Ashley and Jamie Hunt, Janet Staten, me, and I know I'm going to forget somebody here. Tiffany Durham is on our team, and we've got many other people that we support and help. Kylie West has come on our team. Sorry, Kylie, I mispronounced your name. So with that being said, let's get started on helping these people be better barrel racers and communicate better and faster with their horses. That way you kind of have just a little bit of an overview of where we're going and where we need to be and why I like these bits so well and why they function so well for me. The leverage bit, I'm going to introduce it first. This is our regular leverage, which means it has a 7-inch shank. And Jason built this bit because I had a paint horse that was very strong. He was a big, bulky horse. And when I got him, they had taught him how to just kind of drop on his front end instead of staying moving with his hips and pushing forward. And we'll get into why I don't like that and how I train. It's a lot different, or how I tune on horses is a lot different. Well, when I would put anything strong in his mouth, he would fight his head and feel uncomfortable. And I understand why now, and we're going to get into why they do that. And when I put something light on his head, he'd take a hold of it and just kind of do whatever he wanted. So Jason said, well, what do you need? And so I said, well, I need something to do this, this, and this, just what I talked about. So he comes out with the leverage bit. Now this leverage bit comes in several different degrees, and we'll talk about how those degrees are rolling, but I want to get back to my story. When I put this on this horse, and I've had lots of bits, trust me, I'm a bit collector too. I've had lots of bits in my life that they function differently, but they don't do all of the functions that I need them to do when you want to run, which means I need something to get their shoulder and nose and have rib control and have hip control. which you want to get their nose and their shoulder a little bit, but on the back side of the barrel, I want a lot of softness with my horses in the rib cage and a lot of hip control up underneath them. This bit does all of that. It functions, we should have called it the all-around bit, not the leverage bit, because when you look at this, it looks like a lifter bit, but it does so much more. And this is a mouthpiece that I really like for strong horses. It's called the large hexagon with a cricket. And we're going to get into why these bits seem so much more comfortable on horses in the way that we make them. So these leverage bit, and it comes in a regular shank and it comes in a short shank right here, which is 6 inches long. And this is more for your horses that are younger. They're not trained up to a longer shank. I mean, you don't go from like this DD bit, which is a ring snaffle, you don't go from a bit like this to a bit like this. That's like going from one end of the spectrum to the other. So you want to work your horse up. You want to work up from this ring bit to maybe a junior cow horse to that short leverage that I was talking about, this one. And then as you work forward and they get older, and this is another short leverage, and then of course we've got one that has a lot of control here. You want to work up your horse. You don't want to go from one end of the spectrum and go to a hackamore. You never want to do that to your horse, because we want to make sure the horse is very comfortable. So this one right here, it's a little bit of a different version. It's called an ultralight, and it's more for horses that are really reactive, that don't carry, and these are a little bit heavier. They're not super heavy, but they're, as you can see right here, it's a little lighter shank. That's the only difference. It's the same thing. They all come in the same degrees. And we were talking about the DD bit. It's more of a ring bit here. And we'll get into all these functions here later. I just want to introduce them. Of course, this is our K2 hackamore, and it's for horses. You know, hackamores are for horses who just don't like bits. They might have had mouth trauma. They might be so sensitive that a hackamore works. You lose a lot of your flexion, but your horse is more comfortable, and that's the end goal that we're getting at. We want our horses more comfortable. Our leverage bit also comes in combos. This is a ultralight combo. It comes in a short and a regular, exactly like the regular bits. And then it comes in a short, and it also comes in an ultralight. About why our bits are so different and how we researched behind it to make your horse feel more comfortable. So I'm going to talk about the leverage bit here and why it's so different. So as you can see here, this bit, the mouthpiece is contoured. Let's talk about what it's made out of. It's made out of sweet iron. Well, why is sweet iron so much better? Well, research studies, and there's not that much information out there that you can research on bits. I found like 2 books that you can read, and they were both English disciplines. But I figure the Hunter Jumper, the Big Grand Prix, they've been doing this a long time, so I figure their research is much more extensive than most. So, you know, I really took to that research on what makes a horse more comfortable. Well, first, you got to back up and talk about horses' mouths and their faces and why we want our horses so comfortable. Well, you got to understand the horse's face, the nerves on that face are so sensitive that their face is sensitive to light. Well, if their face is that sensitive, then that means that any little tiny thing that takes away their attention to what their job is, which is running and turning barrels. So if there's anything on this mouthpiece that makes them uncomfortable, then that's a bad thing. Well, sweet iron, it's real sweet to the taste to a horse. Yes, it rusts, but it's very sweet. You talk about stainless. Stainless is actually really bitter to a horse's mouth. So anything that's made out of stainless in the mouthpiece is not so necessarily conducive to your horse's mouth. So we really want to think about that, and we're going to talk about pressure points here. Now, not only is this mouthpiece made out of sweet iron, it's also contoured to your horse's mouth right here, and it rolls around their bars and over their tongue. The shanks and the this right here is made out of stainless. And you want your shanks and where this moves to be made out of stainless. Now it's going to rust some, but it's not going to rust like a sweet iron does. And the reason is if this shank is made out of cold rolled steel or sweet iron, it's going to rust. And when we are in barrel racing, we want a quick reaction. We want everything to be right in our hands. So you have to have something that's not going to rust, because if this rusts right here and it doesn't move properly and quickly, then you're defeating your purpose. So that's why you kind of want your shanks to be made out of stainless steel. Now, you can't, I don't know if you can really tell here, but right here, this is contoured to the cheek. It's contoured to the cheekbone. So there's kind of a bone right here, and I'll kind of talk about it as it's on a horse to show you that a straight up and down shank like that is going to, when it hits that horse or when this bit is trying to function like this, you know, it's not contoured to that horse's face, so it's not going to move with that cheek piece, so you're poking them there. And we're going to talk about, like I said, we're going to talk about pressure points there. So that's why I feel like each piece of this bit is researched. Everything behind it has a purpose and a reason. Of course, we've got to get to our most important, which is the cricket. And as you can tell, you can kind of hear this. It kind of clicks a little. If I can get it to click. Well, there's two purposes behind this roller, and as you can see, it's pretty wide. It's not real thin, so this has a horse can really get a hold of this cricket, so they can feel it and they can play with it. So if you have a horse that has anxiety or nervous energy, they're always go, 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 I gotta go. And a lot of mares are that way. They just want to go. They just want to go do their job. This is really helpful to kind of direct their attention away from that. And the old timers say that, you know, our horses are always licking their lips when they're getting something. So you can hear that clicker, so you know they're licking their lips, so they're getting what you're teaching them. So there's two purposes to having this cricket. A horse, you've got everything. But if I can help you get more comfortable and reach a goal, maybe be a tenth faster in arena, that's what I'm all about. It's not promising you unrealistic things. Yes, we do have people who do really good, but I'm never going to take credit for helping them reach their goals, because there's a lot of things that go into it. Yes, I'm going to celebrate with you, but I'm not going to take credit for that, because that's unrealistic marketing. So, you know, we're talk about that. And so if you've got questions and they're in your mind and you don't feel comfortable, hey, afterwards, shoot me a message. I get it. You know, not everybody's like me who's loud and tells it like it is. I mean, I'm one of those kind of people, you either love me or hate me. There's no in between, okay? And I've accepted that, and that's part of me. And so you may not be that person, and I'm okay with that, you know. But I want to bring you out of your shell a little bit and make you enjoy your horse, because that is the whole main purpose of what we're doing here. Okay, so let's introduce my bits here, and we're just going to talk about them briefly, because we're going to go more in depth. We have a lot of people here with a lot of different looking horses. So let's talk about the leverage bit. The leverage bit came about because I had a big stout paint horse. He was a Shawnee Bug Leo, super nice horse. But he had been taught to go up to the barrel and just kind of stop on his front end and try to turn back, instead of being really soft in the rib cage and really soft in the hips. And we'll get to why I think that's important, because I don't train with a lot of flexibility in my horse's nose and neck. And we'll discuss that here later as to why. So he was really strong, and he'd go up to the first barrel and he'd just kind of dump over his front end and he'd try to roll back. Well, him being as big as he was, that's not conducive to barrel racing. That's never going to work. So when I put something stronger on his head, he would fight it, shake his head, negative behavior. If I put something lighter, of course, he wouldn't listen, and he'd just kind of go in and do it the way he wanted. Well, as I was waiting on a couple bits that I'd ordered and they weren't coming in, which, I mean, I know everybody who has handmade bits know that we have bad lead time, but Jason had come out, he had bought all the equipment to start making bits, and he said, well, what do you need? And I said, well, I need this, this, and this. And backing up to it, in my journey as training horses, I have found that bits do certain jobs. I haven't ever found a bit that I thought would be an all-around bit. That everything that I needed out of a bit, I just couldn't find it. I've never been able to find it. And trust me, y'all, I don't even want to know how much money I've spent on bits, because I am a bit collector. As you can see, these are all my bits. So whenever you have bits that are good lifter, they're good keeping them feeling right through here, but you don't have that bit won't get them in the rib cage, or they get where they're resentful of it, trying to be soft in the rib cage and trying to be soft in the hips or square. So when you look at this bit on this leverage bit, it looks like a lifter bit. Well, it does some. But let me explain what else. This is the most important part. It gives you so much rib control and so much hip control, and your horse is not resentful of it. That we should have named it the all-around bit, is what we should have named it. But it comes in several versions. This is the short version. This is the ultralight version. And then we have the regular, longer. This is a 7-inch shank. This is a 6-inch shank, and of course it comes in dozens of different mouthpieces, which we'll talk about here later. It comes in a combo, it comes in a short combo, a regular combo, an ultralight combo. Then we have our junior cow horse. Jolene Montgomery and Kirby are the ones that kind of encouraged us to kind of do a junior cow horse, because they really like those bits. They're more down here, and they work real good to keep a horse square. And I like to put a horse in this junior cow horse when they come out of a ring snaffle, or our DD bit, which this one's just a step up from the ring bit right here. It just offers a lot of control, and it's good for horses who are young and can't handle a shank. And then we have our K2 Hackamore, thanks to KK Rule. Oh, she's on our team too. I knew I'd forgotten. KK and Donna K. Rule are on our team. And they have been good and instrumental. Her and Candace Smith from Fredonia, where I live. Candace is an amazing horsewoman. They encouraged us to build this. We were looking for a good hackamore, and this is for horses who don't really like a bit, they can't carry it, they've had mouth trauma, whatever the reason is why you would use that. And of course, we've got our combos and everything like that. So there's our bits right there. Now let's talk about how we use them. So let's talk about what I think is the most important thing. The most important thing in selecting a bit. Okay, you see all these options here. That's overwhelming, right? That looks overwhelming. Because if I came up to somebody who had a booth with all the bits, that looks overwhelming to me. What does all that do? Well, the first thing you should know is what size is your horse's mouth. Now, you can look at your horse's face and go, I know what size he is. Well, let's start with what a standard size is that most bits come in. Most bits come in 5 and 5 1/4. Now, sometimes getting that information off of a maker's website or in the description, I have found that's difficult, because when I'm trying to size these bits for horses, I can't find what size mouthpiece it is. And to me, as I have started this bit business, this mouthpiece size is the most, and I can't say it enough, so I'm going to say it again and louder in the back for everyone. This is the most important thing in selecting a bit, in finding the right mouthpiece size for your horse. I have fixed more horse problems with getting the right mouthpiece size on a horse. Now, you're looking at this straw. Now, as you can see, this isn't a flimsy straw. This is a hard plastic straw that I got from Amazon. And everybody here is going to get their own complimentary sizing straw whenever you leave, because we're going to measure each one of these horses' mouth. This is the first thing when you call in. Have you measured your horse's mouth? Because I have measured horses' mouth that were 4 inches wide. Now, our pony sizes come in 4.5. So what you do when you measure this horse's mouth, and we're going to demonstrate this here later when we start measuring horses' mouth, that whenever you have the mouthpiece size, you put it in their mouth, you measure right there in the corners, and we have this short video on our website, on our Facebook page on how to do that. So when you measure that, you add 1/4 inch, or you can just send me the measurement. And you'll need the straw or something that emulates a bit. You don't want the wooden spoon because I found that it was too big. You want something that's straight edge, that the horse can't bend like this. You want something that, that emulates a straight line. I've had people do stiff lead ropes. I've had them do stiff ropes. Something that's a little flimsy, but not going to be bent in their mouth. And I've found all kinds of things with horses. Thick lips that make a difference. So you put this in your horse's mouth, and this horse measures, say, 4 inches. Okay. Well, that means he wears a 4 1/4. Our pony sizes are 4.5. Now, these were big horses. I mean, they weren't Welsh ponies. They were just smaller mares that had smaller mouths. Well, you got to understand something. A normal size bit is 5 inches. That means that bit is 1/2 inch too wide for that horse. And so, what does that mean to me? What does it mean? What does it matter? Well, the fact is, what it matters is on a smaller horse, these are 5 1/4, and that's all I brought in sizes, so I can kind of tell. So when you're looking at your bit, and here's another way to know if your horse's bit fits. There's a little spot right here on this bit sleeve where the weld is. That's just kind of smooth. And it's a tiny little spot. It's probably 1 millimeter wide. Okay. That is where your horse's lips should always fall on a bit. Your horse's lips should never fall on this mouthpiece, and they never should be over. And if they're just over that bit sleeve a little is enough to matter. Because as you're running, and we're running with this horses, this will pinch their mouth and make them uncomfortable. So if your horse's mouth is over the top of that bit sleeve and it's not right there, your mouthpiece is too small. If your horse's mouth is lit on your bit mouthpiece, it's too big. And it matters, because we're going to talk about how it matters. Because you get all kinds of negative behaviors. And like I said, your horse's nose and all of these nerves right here are sensitive to light. Guys, our skin is not sensitive to light. It's that tough. Your horse's face is that sensitive. So in all actuality, the mouthpiece size is very important because you're hitting all these pressure points. We're going to talk about that later, about pressure points and where it's hitting. And if your horse is not comfortable here, you've also got to understand, and now this is my hypothesis disclaimer here, and as I was researching, it makes very good sense to me in the vet matter. Am I saying that bits can cause soundness issues? I really think so when I say this, because here's what I learned from researching. Your horse balances with his head and neck. He balances his whole body with his head and neck. So if this is not comfortable and it's not stable right here, then all of this on your horse, your neck, your back, and you got to understand, horses have to stand in 4 quadrants, okay? So if you got a horse that's having feet issues, he backloads, okay? So when you get those feet issues dealt with, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to address the back end of your horse and his hocks and his stifles, because he's put so much pressure on that. So just think with me a minute. If this on the face and neck is not balanced, then we're causing front loading and back loading. So as you can see, the bit is the most important thing that you select for your horse. If you ever take anything away from this clinic today, the bit is the most important thing to select for your horse. And having the knowledge and education, it is why we're here, to make our horses comfortable so we can have faster times and get our end goals. So we're going to talk about the different pressure points on the bit, so you know where your bit is kind of hitting the horse, and it's going to reiterate back to why the mouthpiece size is so important. This is Carmen. Reagan Jackson loaned her to me. She's a pretty model. And you know what? She's a good model because, see, as you can tell, she's got fat lips, okay? You run into a lot of horses that have fat lips and very meaty type horses right here, and that makes a big difference on mouthpiece sizes. So when you have a snaffle, which we call, what they called in the books was snaffles, was ring snaffles, something that didn't have a curb chain on it, your horse is going to be, they're going to talk about the lips. See, this mare's already touching, you know, you see how she's like, oh, I don't touch. You see how sensitive this is. I'm just barely touching her and she's going, she feels that. So you see how sensitive. But when you have a snaffle, it's going to work on the corners of their mouth. That's why it's real important to get this mouthpiece size correct, because it's going to work a lot right here on the corners of their mouth. You're going to be touching and addressing these pressure points right here in their face. And you're also going to be hitting these pole points right here as well on a snaffle. So you're going to be in this region on your pressure point. You're going to be in this region on your pressure point on the pole. This is very sensitive up here in that pole. So here, you know, you're going to be dealing with that. When you get into a curb bit, which is what most of us ride when we run, you're also going to be touching the pole. You're going to be addressing this right here and here, and you're also going to be talking about curb pressure here. So you're hitting this horse in several different regions of their face, which we talked about how sensitive they were. You're going to be hitting all these regions right here, and of course if you put a nose band on them, then you've got another region. So you're sending signals here, 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 and here. So when you send that many signals and it's not comfortable to them, horses have a natural reaction to do two things instinctually. It's called fight or flight. Most horses will fight through it, and what they do is they fight it. If they don't like something or they're confused, and you got to understand, everything we do running barrels is muscle memory. So, you know, a horse is going to react to that, and I've had horses that literally, if you blow their dress over their head, they're done. So, and I've just talked to a lady who, her horse, you can tell, he's trying, but he's so uncomfortable in his face that finally he's just out. He forgets the whole pattern. He's just looping the pin because he's not comfortable here, because we're hitting so many pressure points on our horses. You've got to make sure that this, the curb, the nose, if you have a nose band on them, you got to make sure all of that's comfortable to them. And that's why we get into the deal where we spend thousands on bits, because you can't understand, well, we just go to the newest and greatest and most, you know, well, this person said they won this, and I talked to so-and-so at the barrel race, her horse did this. I like they said a Mullen mouthpiece will make him where he's less flexible, so I think we got to go do this. And then by the time you've got so many problems that have arose because you've tried so many things, and I've been there. I heard a really famous quote that I read in the book, and I thought it was so good and it registered so much. I almost start with it every time I talk about bits. He talked about horses, the bit was like a lock. No, their mouth was like a lock. Let me rephrase that. Their mouth was like a lock, and the bit was the key to unlocking their potential. I thought that was so good because there's been so many times in my life where I've had this horse and it was there and I knew it was there, and trying to get to that point to make them that great horse I knew they would be, was the bit. And I promise you, 9 times out of 10, when I got to that point, it was like, we're here. And 100,000, 75,000. And he went on to make a good rodeo horse. Or he went on to make a nice youth horse, or whatever his potential was. Not every horse is going to be a 1D horse. And that's fine. That's why we have the 4 and 5Ds, which makes it really good. So, okay, with that being said, let's talk about mouthpiece size. So we go back to the mouthpiece size and how it works on your horse's mouth. And you got to understand, horses have lower hanging palates. They have breathing issues. They might swallow their tongue. They might bleed. So we got to make them, there's a lot of other things to consider too. So we talked about the straw. Carmen, are you going to help me on this? She's like, I don't know. So, and we're going to measure everybody's horse's mouth. You're going to get a complimentary straw. That's my gift to you. All right, so these things have a stopper on them right there. That's what I like about it. So you need a Sharpie marker. Oh yeah, and you will draw on your horse's face. Might put a heart or something on him. So what I do, she's like, I don't know about this. Okay, I know. And sometimes you have to get help. And I put it right here. We're just going to let her relax a minute. And I put that stopper right on the corner of their mouth right there, right where it lays. Now, as you can see how thick her lips are? See how thick those lips are, how much they stick out? I know, Carmen. All right, so then I come over here and I've got that corner, that little stopper right there, and I'm going to mark right inside her little lips right there as I mark on her lips. Sorry, Reagan. Your horse is going to be nice and colored. So, as you can see, and I'm going to draw around it, this is going to be Reagan's complimentary. I can't write her name on it, so it's kind of like Vacation Bible School where everybody gets something that they like, you know, color painting or a cup or something. I know, I came prepared today. I might give a bit away, you know. That's more important, huh? Okay, so then you get your little handy dandy little tape measure here. Mine's purple because that's my favorite color. So we're measuring this mare's mouth right there, and she's 5 inches, so she would wear a 5 1/4 right there. So that's how you measure your horse's mouth. And you may have to have help because there's some that are not very cooperative. But a lot of times what I do with people when they measure bigger or really small, I have them go put their bit on, and then we measure the bit to see how it's fitting to make sure and double check. Because some are just not real conducive to the straw. Or DD bits, but we do offer a leather curb that can come with them, and I like that. Well, he gets a little strong. Okay, fine. But when you have a curb chain on them, just make sure that it's snug, because you want that to not, you got to keep it connected. Because if you loosen that curb chain, you're causing that bit to get a lot of action out of it, and you are biting your horse. You're doing the worst thing that you could. It's kind of like, I'm a big believer in short reins. I've heard people, and I've sat in these barrel races a long time. Loosen your reins out. You won't take care. You won't get hold of his head. That you loosen your reins out. There's always that one Betty barrel racer that's out there telling advice, and she goes, "Take your reins out." Well, what happens is our center of gravity as women is right here in our abdomen. When you loosen your reins out, you make yourself go back like this. Okay? And what happens is when you take your center of gravity away, then you do something which is called balance on your reins. And that makes this situation worse. So when somebody tells you that, go, no, that's not a good idea. Okay, so, and we talked about her and we measured her. She's got real thick lips like this. And of course, she's kind of strong because this slow square twist, which we're going to talk about what purposes these slow square twists are. Okay? So, tell me is she just real strong, like race? This mare is probably her ex-race horse because I know she's a foose.
Yeah, they both came off the track.
Okay, so let me stop you right there. Hold on just one second. Hold that thought. Okay, so on race horses, and I've rode a lot of ex-race horses. Whenever you have a race horse, an ex-race horse, they teach those horses to grab the bit and hold it and push. Okay, that's how those jockeys balance on their head. They gather those horses up. That means go faster. Okay, so when you get a horse that's been off the track, You have to literally retrain them. Does that ever come out of them? No. It's always a love-hate relationship. Always. Those horses, when they get ready to run and they get that anxiety, they go back to the first thing, which is the foundation, which is grab that bit. Okay? So you're always having to keep a horse light. That's why I really like when I have these horses, or any horse for that matter, is I ride heavy when I'm at home working, and then I go lighter when I run. And this is where this slow square twist kind of comes into action. I've had a lot of people return this bit because it has a lot of control, and it's very slow squared, and it's twisted. It's a square mouthpiece, and it twists, and so it gets into the lips on the horse. You got to understand, okay, so why do you ride heavy and then go light? Okay, so all of us are heavier handed when we run. Yes, you may think you're light handed and you're all that, but I promise you, when you get adrenaline rushing, you're going to go heavier handed. That's why I go lighter, because when I get up here and I want to handle my horse, or maybe he's too far over, or maybe he's anticipating the turn, I want to be able to handle him, but I don't want him to lose his focus. So that's why I go lighter. But I always firmly believe in never riding in your run bit. So what I usually try to help people with, not trying to gouge them out of money, is we try to get a run bit, and then I back it up a little stronger for something for them to ride. Okay? So that's why we do that. All right, so tell me.
She's green. She hasn't been entered. I bought her 3 months ago, and she had not been entered. She'd been exhibitioned a bunch. She's very solid. She really wants to turn a barrel. So we're kind of all over the place as far as times right now, because my son says we're just loping, which is fine because we know she can run.
Well,
they're not worried about that.
Fooses are inherently, they're hot.
And
the one
very
they're on
busy,
the muscle. Yes, they're on the muscle. Yes.
Dramatic.
Oh yeah.
Everything is a big deal.
Yeah, I have 2 Fooses. Super nice horses. Not just Fooses. Well, no. I'm using in reference. I've had 2 Fooses, and they're super hot, and then it's with any horse breed. It doesn't, but they're super extremely athletic horses, but they're wanting to go do their job. They're like Dash to Fames. They want to go do their job, and they end up getting a lot of anxiety in the arena. So we're going to work with her, because the cricket is going to.
The cricket.
Yeah, the cricket kind of settles with that and everything. So we'll go with that. Okay.
I got a quick question.
Yes.
So when you was talking about, the race bred, have you found out that like certain bloodlines have a tendency to like certain things?
Yeah, and like I said, when you talk about, and I'm talking about Dash to Fames that are own sons and daughters of Dash to Fames. Now, when you get into Dash to Fames that are grandsons and granddaughters, that horse that's wanting to be really, scrambly and really just gritty and just, oh my God, and just, oh my God, because that's what they are. They're just, oh my God. Now, the Fooses aren't near as bad as that, I found, but, there's always different horses, because when you cross horses, they're different. I find out that, you can work with a horse. There are some breeds that are a little hotter for me, and then somebody else can take them and do really good. I think it's owing to your personality as a person, because I've seen people literally, who are like, when they get to a barrel race, they are the most nervous. They're like a cat on a hot tin roof. They do not need a horse with a lot of energy, because they're like, woo, woo, let's go. I had a friend one time, when she had one of these Fooses, that's why I have him now, is because she had him so bad, he was just like, he wouldn't even go in the arena. Because literally when she got there, she was just a nervous wreck. So what those kind of personalities mesh with, and I'm going to tell you something, these horses are the best lie detector test in the world. You might be able to fool the fans, but you can't fool the players. These horses, they tell me so much about you. When I get on, I can tell what kind of personality you have and what they're telling me about you. It's not a good or a bad thing. You have to accept who you are, just like when I went back to myself saying you either love me or hate me. I spent so many years trying to be a different person that I was frustrated because all of that was trying to get out, because people were telling me how inadequate I was by being loud, by telling too much, by talking when people are talking and interrupting, but that's my personality. That's who I am. So I have to accept who I am and know what meshes with my personality well. Horses who are free runners, okay, so what's my kind of horse? And I'll get back to your question in a minute. I know I didn't answer it all that well. So let's talk about Charlotte. I'm going to use me as a perfect prime example. I'm a big, tall girl. I am not a jockey size. All right, that's good. But when someone tries to tell me to go to this horse and use their feet, I'm going to tell you 90% of the barrel racers I've met, they cannot ride with their feet when they run. There's too much going on. And with me, for sure, I cannot ride with my feet, because I literally have to reach up and get a horse with my heel to make them move over and do that. So I have to think, and that's like 2/10 right there. So I'm already past the barrel. I'm already to the third if I'm trying to get them to move over or something like that. So my horses work off of my hands. They work off of my hands. That's a lot of the barrel racers, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad rider. You might be able to use your feet and stuff like that, but all of the muscle memory, and there's a lot of other focus things that go on that you might not to. And I know this is boring. I keep talking, but we're going to get to work, I promise. So, yes. That's okay.
I remember you saying you didn't ride with your feet. In your everyday normal riding, do you use
Yes. Okay, so I ask with my hands, I demand with my feet. So when I've got a colt that's just green on the pattern, what I'll do with him is I'll lift, or whatever body part I'm trying to control, and if they don't give it to me, I'll ask a little. I'm not going to just, unless they need it and they know. So I'm going to ask, they give, I give a little back, I'm going to ask, and I might use pressure on and I use a lot of outside foot. If I was going to use anything, I'm not a big inside foot, and we'll get to why that is on there. Going back to the racehorse things, there's certain people who get along with streak of flings. There's certain people who don't. And I just use that as an example. It's every breed. And I've had horses that are no name, Orange Smash, perfect example, easily smashed. Talmadge Green said, well, if she can make an easily smash run, she can do anything. I mean, huh? Well, yes, but see, so certain people mesh, and it goes back to their personalities. If you're wild and you're like, woo, and you're attacking life and you're ready, then you may not need one of those hot-bred racehorses, okay? But if you're a chill and you're like, woo, and you're fashionably late, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, then you could do a dash to fame. You could do a few. And I understand, I'm not cutting down cow breeding horses. They have their place, and people are, they run barrels. Okay, so I use racehorses because that's what I'm I'm connected with, because most of them are big. As you can see, we're going back to Charlotte's critic. Well, no, I'm gonna tell you something. When you got this young lady here, she's not a tall lady, right? She's jockey size. Okay, well, if I show up with this horse, I'm going to get my butt outrun, okay? I got to come with a beast, okay? And when I go to a barrel race, I want to go to win because I'm competitive. So when I come to a barrel race, I got to have something that'll carry every bit of me. I'm big boned, I know. So you got to know your body size, you got to know your body type, you got to know what your personality meshes with. And a lot of times, we're all on a budget. Everybody's on a budget, okay? We buy what we can afford. And trust me, guys, when you're a trainer, you eat ramen noodles and you buy what you can afford. People send you the stuff that's expensive. You don't get to go out and buy a $50,000 horse, ever. Okay, so tell me, what's your name?
Bridgette.
Bridgette, and so tell me a little bit about what a pretty little yellow. Oh, doesn't he look at him. He's a sweetheart, I can already tell.
He's a personality.
Yeah, I bet he is.
I actually brought 3. I have 2
Okay.
5-year-old fillies out there that are Corona Prospect off the
trail. Okay.
He's something. My only issue with him, he rides like a dream.
Yes.
But when we're going to the first barrel, that's our issue, is I really have to check him.
Check him.
And he turns it different.
Yes.
He turns way down here and it's real stiff. I can't
Yes.
get him to.
You can't get him to
I'm
move.
having to
Yes.
use all my strength to turn
Okay.
it,
Okay.
and he won't turn it close. He normally goes a hair past it and then
Okay.
pins it.
Well, it makes sense because this, I think that's a Charmaine bit, isn't it? Yeah.
It should be. A
Okay. And
professional
another,
choice.
okay, yeah. I think that's and I'm not going to dish anybody else's bits today. We're not going to do that. I don't live my life that way. So they have a purpose, just make sure they fit. And trust me, if my bits don't work, somebody's bits is going to work. So work with what works for you. So that's my motto. We've got to work with what works for us. And I'm okay with that. This little guy right here, you can tell, and I'm going to tell you something. First thing I look at when I look at horses, I look at their eyes. Because this little guy, he's like, hey, what's up? You know, he is a pleaser. This guy wants to please. So we'll get with him. You know, I like to look at their eyes. This mare right here, I know he's been keeping her over here because she's probably nervous. Avery, 3. She's a little nervous about her new setup, but she's curious. She looked at me, and so I like to look at their eyes because I will tell you, eyes are the window to a soul on a horse. The first thing when I go up to look at a horse and try to evaluate them, I look at their eyes. So tell me a little bit about her.
So this is the first 3-year-old I've had,
Mm-hmm.
and I do have help training her, but I know that my bit is too big.
Yes, we talked about that.
Yep. And really what I want is something that's going to fit her
Yes.
and fit my hands. I
Right.
don't want something that is good.
Yes.
I want something that's right.
Right.
And
We
I don't-
want to make them comfortable.
Right.
For sure. We want to make, and Avery, right? Avery. Okay. And if I forget your name, you're not forgettable. Trust me. That's just because I've got CRS. Now tell me about you, and who are you? Jamie. Okay. Yes. So tell me about this.
She's a 7-year-old we raised. Just started entering her this year.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing really well. Just haven't found
The right thing.
the right thing. This is not what I run her in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've been running her in just like I think we talked the medium shank ed
Yes.
lifter.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. And she's very suspicious. She's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You can tell by looking at this mare, she's got her head, she's like, I don't know about all this. Horses, she's got a smaller face, and I'm going to bet she's only going to measure about 4 1/4. So it's going to have to be a pony size. It's weird. I'm going to have to make pony sizes littler. Okay, so we'll get to you. And what's your name?
Hi, I'm Savannah.
Nice to meet you, Savannah. So tell me about this horse.
This is the purchase I made like 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I knew nothing, and I did this all by myself.
Well,
And
that's
I'm a
great.
beginner.
Good for you.
I've never
Good for
run.
you going out of your comfort zone. Yes.
I'm a very beginner at this.
That's okay.
I have a trainer, and we help, but
Okay.
I don't. A lot of exhibitions.
Right.
And she's
You're just getting your feet
wonderful.
wet.
Yes.
Yes.
This is what I currently run her in.
Yeah, that's another
But
tender touch.
It's
She
weird.
looks
It's-
like an old campaigner. I like her.
I'm done. It's all good.
It's all right.
There's-
She's good. She's an old campaigner. She's like, okay, whatever. You can tell by looking at her. She's just like, whatever. I'm going to help you. And that's good. You probably selected the perfect horse. And I know Rose here. So Rose, tell me.
You see, I can stop her if I need
Well,
to.
that's okay. You know.
A 10-year-old mare, she's hot. Mainly strong in the alleyway. And
Yes.
the first barrel, big
Yes.
time strong.
Okay.
After that, gap on. I mean, kick
Yeah.
all you got. Because
So first barrel's an issue
it's-
there.
well,
Yeah.
It's probably 99% me.
Well, and I hear that a lot, but you'd be really
At your pressure
surprised.
barrel,
Yeah,
isn't it?
well, you'd be really surprised how a lot of it's not you. It's just the lack of knowledge, the lack of education. And, you know, if you ever stop learning, then you're done in being more competitive. So don't ever forget that. Just because I said it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. I'm giving a lot of things of my knowledge and education, but just like I said before, in looking at bits, I'm learning more every day about these bits. Like we started with the wooden spoon. Then when I went to a show and we tried to use them, like, well, that doesn't work. That's way thick and it's off. It throws things off. So,
Her biggest thing is keeping her. She's jet of honor on the bottom. So there's a lot of front end. Want to drop. And it's just keeping her standing up. If you do that and she's on her rear end. I mean, she's gonna be
Yeah.
great. But you don't want to be all over her head. You know what
Right.
I mean? I want to let her go, and then when I do that, I start feeling her she just
Right.
gets lower and lower. Next thing you know, she's not dumping, but she's going
Right.
passing it to the back and like assholing herself.
Well, yeah.
So,
And I want to make it perfectly clear. I brought up Streak of Fling, and I know Lisa Fulton well, so I must make a disclaimer. Those horses have won a ton of money. You know, they're not bad horses. There's just people with personalities that deal with them better, and that's awesome. And so I don't want to offend anybody by this video or anything, because I somehow can offend people with just standing there. So.
Gonna get a stride past you.
Well, yeah, he's probably one of those that he's ultra sensitive to his mouth if he's had nerve damage. But I can tell that he's got a big face. I bet you most bits don't fit him.
Nothing.
Yeah. And so what's the other one over here?
That's a 5-year-old.
Who'd you bring with you here?
This is Mary.
Yes.
Mickey.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
He don't need a bit or nothing. He just goes and does his job.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're riding him around, I would like to get him a little broker and
Yeah, okay.
and stuff. But he has no mouth, but all the field is right in here. But he's when you run barrels,
He's automatic.
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He wants
Okay.
to be a good one.
Don't worry.
But
People in the back, I'm going to bring you forward.
he prefers like an O-ring of some kind, but
Okay.
I don't have a really good one
Yeah.
that fits his mouth.
Yeah.
And that's why he's here. I want to just fit
Okay.
him nice because he's going to be
Perfect.
a nice pony.
And then these are, let's see, Felicia, and tell me your name again. McKinley Bauer from Oklahoma. Yeah. We've already been kind of talking to them, so I kind of know this is her little cute little mare, and I'm telling you, this mare can run barrels now. McKinley, she's my epitome of an aggressive rider. We're going to have to calm you down just a little. But she is in it to win it. You're like me. You try really hard. And this Felicia is her mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Right here. They've already contacted me, and we've visited with them, so I kind of know their situation. It's a little bitty old horse, but this one, you know, you can kind of tell this is a little big for her. We may have to do some stuff here, and we'll get to that. Thank you. What's her name?
Pistol.
Pistol, and who's this?
Smarty.
Smarty and Pistol. Wow, two good names. Yep, got my pistol and I'm smart. We had a while ago, that slow square twist can be super harsh. I really caution people even more so now because I get more of those back. They look really enticing for a strong horse, but I've found as I'm working with people that slow square twist, and Becky Mask runs in that slow square twist all the time, but my theory is this. It doesn't work for me because when I ask a horse to come back across, you know, I'm asking and that outside hits their lips and it kind of drops down and they kind of get elevated. And I found a lot of people's horses have gotten really resentful because when people go to run, they get heavier handed and go to handling their horses, and rightly so. Nothing they're doing wrong, okay? You've got to handle your barrel horse, okay? You have to, or you can't run barrels. So your horse has got to let you handle them, okay? So just a basic, and we're going to go through this. This is going to be totally weird than what you've been taught by most people. So what the norm is, the education that I've found, is people come up here to this spot and they go like this and give big circles and want to give a lot of pocket going around the first barrel like that. And that's okay if you kind of know how to control the back part of your horse. So what I've had a lot of people, when they're training their horse, more than 90% of barrel racers come up here. The first thing they want to do is ask this horse to move to the side, give a lot of pocket, right here, all the way around, and maybe even lope big circles around it. I am not a fan. I'm not a fan of circles around a barrel. Okay, did y'all all get that? Louder in the back. Not a fan of circles. Why? But the average barrel racer does not need to do circles. Why? We as two-legged animals think like two-legged animals. So when we ride our horses from this way forward. We do not ride this. This is your motor. You must ride this. So the way I teach it, instead of telling you you've got to ride the hips, you're like, well, and I'm going to tell you something. People are born with feel on their horses or they're not. You don't teach feel, okay? It's okay. It doesn't make you inadequate. But it makes you not know where this is because we're riding front 2 legs forward, okay? We can control this forward. We can't normally control this behind us, okay? So what happens is when you teach a horse circles around a barrel and you don't know how to ride the hips, like Joy, like Jolene, and stuff like that, you don't know how to keep that hips up, what ends up happening is this horse goes like this. See her hips? Because you're not controlling that hips and you've got so much up the front. And what happens is that horse goes to fishtailing. What I hear from people when they call me is, I've got this right here and they're doing this, okay? Because they're not looking behind their legs is what's going on. So, with that being said, what I've taught these horses to do, and there's several reasons why I've taught them that way, because I've had a lot of students when I teach lessons, they don't know how to do that. And they don't know how to acquire that feel. So what I teach them, and the reason why I teach them this way, is because I want to teach them how to control this forward so this all follows properly. All right, so when you heard me say that I don't like to get a horse really flexible over the front like this goes back to that same reason why. 2 reasons. See how this horse is off balance? One thing, a horse does not know, when you watch horses in the wild, you never see them running with their head sideways or down. They're usually running with their head straight in front of them because they see out of this way. That's how they get away from prey. Or they've got their head up so they can smell the air coming through their nose and what's coming. All right, so that's instinctual. So horses don't run like this. They don't run like that. So that is putting them in a position of non-instinctual behavior. It's putting them off center. And also, horses have to walk in line. Like I said, they've got to be square on all 4 quadrants. Whenever they walk in line like that, they're balanced. When we do this, or when we do this with them, they're not balanced. What happens is, in the middle of the back, that gets that back uncomfortable because it doesn't move like that. You know, that's not the way they're intended to move. They're intended to move just like this. They're not intended to move like this. That's a really uncomfortable position for your horse. So trying to make them move like that, we are doing instinctual something that they're not. This is not instinctual. This is not how they protect themselves. So when I'm riding my horse, I want to get a little bit of nose right here. Little bit of nose, just a little. See, this mare's wanting to really give me her nose. I just get a little bit of nose. That's all I want from this mare. And she's staying in that position pretty good, and you can see that my hands are just kind of just barely. She's pretty good broke here. You know, when I touch my finger, she wants to listen. She wants to give me a little bit more, so I'm going to straighten her out so I get a little bit of nose. And that's what I do on the first barrel, or any barrel going into it. So when I'm coming out here, that's the reason why we do that way, or I do it that way. Now, mine that way is not the only way. I don't go outrun everyone. All right, so when I come up here, I'm going to look at where the tracks cross over right here. Okay, tracks cross over, go in, come out. Right here where her front legs are, the tracks cross over. Okay, and I'm pretty close to the barrel. And I don't hardly look at the barrel. I look at my path around the barrel. So what I'm going to do with this mare is I'm going to get her to give me her nose just a little. See, she wants to fade out with me already. So what's happening with this mare is this. She's wanting to dump over her front end and wanting to turn. She's wanting to get right here because and there's another reason why we don't put them out here. See how close I am to this barrel? Okay, when you look at your barrel, okay, we've got a lot of dirt being flung over here in the 5 that you're running in, whether you're first or last on the ground. And when I ask this mare to come over, she moves over into that heavy dirt. Well, what happens when they're running, the front end stops, okay? The front end stops, the back end's got to go somewhere, and it goes out or in, okay? Or a horse will get stiff and start showing you, they'll get in a bind is what I'm saying. Okay, so when I'm asking them over here, this looks fine in dirt that's not being run in. But when I ask this mare, and I do this because a lot of the young horses go on to be rodeo horses, and we really do not want them laying over and getting a lot of nose because they need to stand up. That's for their safety and soundness. And it's also for jackpot horses too. They're the same way. A lot of my horses end up being rodeo horses, go on questionable ground. And so when I come up here, I want this mare to just give me a little bit of nose going in. I know, you don't like that, do you? Here, let's move this down so you're happy. Okay, so I got her a little bit of nose. And what I'm doing is just using my outside leg to keep her where this is blocked off. I'm not letting her really do this. And then when I get to the backside, I get a lot of lift and then finish it straight. Well, that looked really strange, didn't it? Okay, so what it looks like when you run, let me go back to what it looks like when I run. So when I run, and I'm going to do this two-handed because I got to make sure she stays in line. I get a little nose, I come right here, you see my horse shoot, and come around straight, like that. And that is one of the fastest barrels that you'll ever see on a horse when they can do that properly. We've got a couple things going on here that is going to prevent her for that is the fact that she's real loose back here and she's wanting to not stay in line. Okay, so how does that help my horse be in a better position, Charlotte? Okay, so when I get here, and this is what's going to help you have that feel of riding the hips back, okay? You're going to ride the hips forward, so I like a horse to be super soft in the rib cage, meaning I'm not going to get a lot of this, but you see how square this mare is now? And how her body is nice and round and kind of a C for Charlotte. But see how the hips are moved in? We are round in the rib cage. What am I doing? I am getting the front end lifted up, the rib cage soft, and look how far she's extending that inside hip. Okay? You can see she's really reaching up underneath herself. I'm using my outside foot to put that hip back in, and I'm asking her to really square up her shoulders, move them out of the way, get soft in the rib cage so she can turn and come over the top of herself. Okay? And I'm having to work with her a little bit because she doesn't know this. So what I'm doing, you can see she's coming up collected. See how she's bunching her body up? She's getting soft in her rib cage. She got a little more nose than I'd like, but this mare's kind of long-necked. But she's getting soft in her rib cage. She's pulling that rib cage up and sucking it in. And look at the hip collection we've got going on here. Okay? So when I come up here, and I call it the 4-point barrel, come up here to my spot. Now when I come up here, and see how she kind of pulled on me, I back up there, I'm just going to kind of get her off the bit a little. She's kind of pushing on me a little. I'm going to ride this horse straight up here, and I'm not going to ask for her nose or anything. We're going to go straight up to this barrel. We're going to get to this spot. No, I don't stop my horses normally. I'm going to go right up here. And we're going to go to that spot, and I'm going to sit. And then I'm going to get a little nose. I'm going to lift. And then I'm going to come back straight. Now, this is how you remember that, and we'll go through it. Don't worry, each one of you are going to get to go through it. I'm going to get on your horses. So I get up here, my hands are forward. Okay? I see people, put your hands down, put your hands down. No. We are encouraging forward motion. Okay? Watch how I show this demonstration right here. Encouraging forward motion. As I call it, Jackie Jat's Law, again, I quote her a lot, thumbs up to Jesus. And for some reason, people remember that. So, when you have your hands up, you're encouraging forward motion. I'm encouraging this mare to walk with a purpose. Now watch what happens when I drop my hand. What happened? She stopped. So hands down is not a good thing because we're connected with our horses and we're not encouraging forward motion. Okay? And we're asking them to push through the bit for us. So I'm going to keep my hands up and straight. That's why I don't like long reins, because I use my hands forward like this. So I'm encouraging to get out of this mare's way so she can move properly. And I'm not in her face. You know, when people get in your face, you don't like that because that's personal space. Same with horses. When I get in this mare's face, she's like, oh, okay. But what ends up happening, it's like if I run up behind you and grab your ponytail, you're going to go, oh, like that. But then you're going to try to get away from me. And that's what they're doing when you feel that they're strong. They're getting away from you. They're trying to get away from you. Like I see people at the jackpots and they'll stand here just like this with their horse. That mare has no release. And eventually those horses are going to go like this. Well, she might do it here in a minute. They're going to go. See, and I tell people, don't do that. Because what you're doing is you're promoting them to try to get away from you. They're going to start pushing in that bit. So I will sit here. Now, if I have a horse that's doing this, I'll get in their face a little and go, okay, now stop. So if you sit there at the barrel race like this, see how this mare's pushing on me now? Now she's doing it. See how she's pushing? She's like, ugh, you're not giving me no release. She's like, oh, see her? She automatically went, oh, thank you. Get out of my face. Same thing. So everything that you do with a horse while you're there, you need to pay attention to, because you're training every second you're on your horse. You're training every single second you're on your horse. So when I come over to the second barrel, I'm going to come straighter, closer. I'm even going to get her hip in a little. See, she wants to fade out. And what I call popping the shoulder out or popping the hips out, she's trying to fade on me because she's telling me, Reagan's telling me this is where I need to be, way over here. But it's not. Because you're putting her in a position of wanting to be in a bad spot. And we want to stay close, and we want, because what's the fastest point between two lines? Straight line. Exactly. So when I come across here, I want this horse moving in a straight line in their body, and I want them to be instinctual like this. See, she's trying to move over for me here. I don't want her to move over, and she's getting frustrated, but that's okay. I mean, we're teaching them something totally different. I'm getting a little nose, a lot of nose, and then finish. This mare's already picking this up. You know why? Because it's easy for them. It won't be easy for you, but it'll be easy for them.
So you start with
yes. And I'll walk it so you can see me going slowly without on a horse, okay? Yes. And you got to understand the first and the third barrel are like a cross. You want to hit the back part of that barrel with a lot of bend on there. Okay, because what I'm doing is I'm picking this front end up, getting them soft in the rib cage, and bringing that hip up underneath them to get ready for that fast snap on the back side. Because we don't want them hanging off the back side, Because when you come over here and you ask this horse to really get here, and you wonder, why aren't we getting that snap, and you get like this, well, it's because you're telling them. See, I'm asking this mare to give me too much nose, so when I come over here and I go, okay, now snap, and she goes, oh, okay, I'm doing what you're saying. This is what you said, big circles with my nose. They don't know that they're supposed to snap there, so you don't have them prepared for what you're wanting them to do. You're teaching them one thing at home, but expecting a different result when you get somewhere. You're expecting a tight turn. You're expecting them to be soft in their rib cage and come around, but what you're teaching them at home is a totally different thing. So when I ask this mare to come up here, see how she's wanting to fade on me already? Okay. Get a little nose, and then I'm really asking her, see how she really reaches and extends with her hip up underneath there? She's really reaching, and that's what we want to do. We want to ride this hip, because this is your motor. You're driving. This is the steering wheel. You're driving here. You're pushing and driving. But what in actuality, what you want to be doing is riding this hip. And like I said, I firmly believe, after working with thousands of people, that they don't feel that. You know, I have to go step by step. That doesn't mean you're inadequate, okay? It doesn't mean you're not a good horseman. I know people who are extremely good trainers. They have terrible feel, but they've educated themselves on how to place their body and know the movement, okay? They know what they need to do. They're in tune with their horse, but they're like, ugh. So they have to make up with that with being educated. Doesn't mean you're inadequate, doesn't mean you'll never be a good horseman. That's not what that equates to. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing that I've heard a lot of bit makers tell barrel racers. Your horse ain't broke enough. You need to get him broker. That's why my bit ain't working. I will never tell you that. Now, your horse may need some more training to train up to that bit, but I'm never going to tell you when you call me and say, well, your horse just ain't broke enough. Let me tell you something. I've had horses that you can spin around like a reining horse. You can sit like this. They will put a set of 11s down. You take them to a barrel pen, you put run on them, and they run the hell off. Okay? There is a love-hate relationship between training and running, okay? And it all boils down to two things, position and control, okay? You've got to have position, you've got to have control in the run. Does that mean a bigger bit? No. It means to have something that your horse is comfortable in, something that you can handle them with, that you feel comfortable in, and that your horse has the right position. You put them out of position, you go back to messing with their instinctual behavior. That's what we're talking about here. It's simple, right? Tight turns, straight lines. You know, that's what I tell people, is that's simple, right? But it's really that complicated. So when you have someone say, your horse is just not broke enough, okay? You got to understand there's a gap here in communication on that. You can have the brokest horse running, working slow at home, but when you add speed to it, it makes a whole nother level come up, okay? That means two things are going wrong. Either you don't have position or you don't have control. And it might be both, and a lot of times it is, and that's okay. So don't let someone tell you when you're trying to find and select a bit that your horse is not broke enough, okay? Because your horse could be like a reining horse or a cow horse, and they're as broke as they can be. But when you add speed, that's a whole nother level that people aren't aware of. And if you aren't a barrel racer and you don't know, then they shouldn't be given advice like that, okay? They might know the functionality of their bits, but they don't know what this feels like, okay? I do. Does it mean that my advice is the best? Not necessarily. But I like to think outside the box. My training, if you go back and watch my renting runs, my training is totally different. Because as we get better and I start seeing more people do, like you'll see Craig Brooks, who wins. And I mean, he wins big. Craig Brooks, when you watch how Craig Brooks goes and trains, it's very unorthodox to what we're taught. But it makes sense. And when I visit with him about it, you know, he's an amazing trainer and he's an awesome rider, okay? Brandon Cullen's the same way. And I mean, those are two guys, okay? And everybody thinks guys are a little heavy-handed and they can't, you know, we're going to get on and have to force them around. That's not necessarily the case. Craig Brooks and Brandon Collins and Pete Owen are some of the best, most finesse riders I've ever seen on a horse. And I've seen a lot of women that can ride behind them. So don't ever let someone tell you, if you're a man, that you can't be as good a trainer as any woman, okay? Because if you have the finesse and you've got the hands and you've got the wherewithal, then you can be as good as any woman. And, you know, so I think we should all be men, women barrel racers, because I want to see the best horse win. But, of course, that's my opinion. You know, I'm full of opinions. You know, opinions are like buttholes. Everybody's got one. So, but I have had really good success with this method in teaching people. So when I come up here, and let's go to the third barrel so you can see this. This mare is starting to get more in my hands. No, she's not perfect, because you have to understand something. It takes 30 days to develop a habit. It takes 30 days to break a habit. So if you go to a barrel race tomorrow, well, that didn't work. I'm done. That doesn't work for me. No. Don't do it that way. You got to give it an opportunity, okay, to work. So you want to come up here and you want to get a little bit of nose on the backside, and then really when you get to this point, you want to really get a lot of nose and a lot of, well, I say a lot of nose. You want to get a lot of rib cage bend. Looks like a lot of nose, but what I'm actually asking her to do is lift her front end up out of the way. Now see how she wants to kind of fade out on me? Ask a little nose, really move and get straightened up and come back around. I know, it looks weird. It's not going to make sense at all right now. And when I ask you to go around the barrels, you're going to be like, that didn't work. But we're going to go through it step by step. I'm just showing you the basics here. And this mare is just kind of, you know, she's not perfect at it, and that's the reason why I didn't bring any of my horses, because I wanted to bring imperfection. I want to show you imperfection. And as the day goes on, you will see, and we'll get to where you look and stuff like that. So I'm asking this mare to get her butt up underneath her, kind of get square, give me her nose, really lift, and you can tell I'm kind of lifting my hands up a little bit there. And she's getting softer. No, she's not perfect by any means. We're just going to kind of work on the left side here. See how I've kind of got her body coming around? She's wanting to point her nose up. These bits are a little bit big for her. You know, we measured her 5 1/4. They should fit, but I'm not so sure this mare doesn't need a 5-inch mouthpiece. And when you get bit, and this is another thing I found, some bits don't. The angle and the way that they are positioned, then they sit different on a mouth. The way I taught you earlier to have your lips sitting on the horse on that little smooth welded spot, that's where they should be. And going back to reiterate about horses being broke enough, yes. Do I believe horses need a foundation? Absolutely. Because when I get on a horse, if they don't have a foundation, and in 2 hours you expect me to put a foundation on them, that's not realistic. So, and understand, I'm not going to call you out, but I'm going to tell you like it is, okay? So, now, see there? Now she's like, she didn't poke her nose out at me and go, ugh, I don't want that. A little bit too much nose there. And what I'm doing is just trying to get her comfortable and kind of get her in my hands and listening to what I'm saying and get squared up. Now she's squared up. Y'all see how her hip is into the inside for me? It's not hanging out here. She's not giving me too much nose, just a little more than I'd like, but you know, I'm not going to be picky because she's trying. Okay. And this is something that I like to do. You'll see me a lot when I get on your horses here. You know, you'll see me a lot just try to just play with them a little. Just try to get them comfortable where they can feel it. You can see it and they can feel it. trying to poke her shoulder out on me a little and kind of get a little stiff on that outside shoulder there. And I feel her kind of wanting to move away. I don't want her to move away. I took my feet out of the stirrups because they hurt my feet. Nope, it's the stirrups. It's okay. My feet are bad. I have to have a certain... I'm like every other barrel racer, you know, when they put me on something, I'm like... Ugh. But it's okay. I'm crippled. I have RA, so I have rheumatoid arthritis. That's another factor I've had to learn how to ride through, is because there's good days and there's bad days. I look like I'm okay, but I promise you, in some regards, I'm not. It's one of the reasons why I've tried to slow down and start doing clinics. Now see how this mare's kind of, now she's relaxed. Now I'm going to stop her. What am I doing here? What I'm doing here is I'm trying to get her off the bit and just, when I want to stop, just stop. Don't push on me, just stop. And I'm trying to get her off her front end a little bit here. And you got to be real careful about backing up. You don't want to go, because you'll bring one over the top of you. You got to be real careful, you know, and when I get on very strange horses, I'm not going to get on. Okay, there we go. She quit. She gave me her head and just quit. So what I want to do whenever if you can't come up here and just stop your horse, you need to work on that. Because if you can't just walk up here and set and then ask them, if they can't do that, then they need some they need some training. Okay? Being broke and having training, there's a difference here. We want a horse that's trained to have a foundation. We want a horse that when we come up here, see how she kind of pulled on me when I went to set and put my feet forward? She kind of went, ugh. We don't want that. There. She just set. That's all I want to do. When I ask, and I'm not asking too much with my hands, because when we go up to a barrel, we're not going to go, whoa, come here. Because they're going to go, no, I'm not. They act like teenagers. So when I come up here, I'm going to sit, and I want her to really feel my butt in the saddle like that, and I want her to set too. Because when I come up to a barrel, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop my outside rein, lift, because that's her cue to set. I'm not going to pull. I'm not going to yank. Because the first thing you did right when you yanked and you checked is we blew the dress over their head. You lost all concentration. Okay, and we'll get into that. So the minute when she starts pulling on me, I'll back her up. The backing up is getting them back on their butt and getting them off the front end. Okay, that's what you're feeling. When you get up there and your horse just jams it in the ground like this, and then you run to the side. You're feeling what we call dumping over the front end, okay? When they jam that in there and do that, that means they're not on their hips, they're not on their butt, okay? So when this motion, and I know it's simple, see how she wants to poke her nose out a little at me? I don't want her to do that. I want her to just sit. I don't want this. I don't want any kind of nothing. I want her to come up here, see, and just sit. And that you should be able to do that at a walk, trot, and a lope. Okay? You should be able to come up here and you think, well, that's just simple. I know how to do that. But when I get on your horses, they're telling me way something different. What they're telling me is she's like, I just kind of do whatever the hell I want. I kind of. See? There again. She's like, She went, no. Now, that's better. Now I can, because what I want to do is I want to be able to do this right here. See how she's not pulling on me? I like fingertip pressure. Fingertip pressure. So when I come up here we go again. I'm going to do it again. Look. Fingertip pressure. And she did good that time. Okay? That's a horse that's been trained. Okay? Now, okay, so we're just going to kind of line up, and I'm going to start watching you, and we're just going to kind of go through some stuff. Now, I know it's going to be a lot of sitting and listening, but y'all bear with me. You'll have your turn, but it might be something that's regard to you. I know it's boring to have to sit and listen to somebody talk, But watch what we're doing with other horses because it may relate, or you may get a horse later on in life that it may relate to, okay? All right, I'm going to go tie her up. All right, y'all just kind of, if you want to kind of get a line like over here, I don't think we need to go down the alleyway because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you go through once, all of you, and then I'm going to go one by one, okay? And if anybody needs to go to the bathroom or get a drink while we're doing that, feel free. You won't lose your place in line and I won't pass you by, I promise. As we go, okay, so this is how we're going to do this. As we go through, everybody, we'll start fitting bits. And I didn't bring bits to sell. What we'll do is we'll go on the internet and we'll order your bit specified. The reason why I didn't is because I've run into so many different mouthpiece size horses that, and we don't have to make a run. I just want to see what your most comfortable is. I don't want you to really get them nervous on the first try. I just want to see kind of what we're looking at and where we're dealing with stuff, okay? So whatever you feel comfortable doing, then that's what I want to see, okay? Okay, whoever. Just go ahead so I can watch. She moves really nice. She's got nice little light feet and everything. Okay, next. Well, if you're going to work slow, if you're going to work fast, wait till he gets out of the way. We don't want to kill somebody on the first deal. I don't want to murder some of my students today. Yeah. If you want to run, if you want to make a little go ahead. Yes. Just don't run over somebody. Yeah. This is in the barrel racing world. I've found that they don't care. They just run over somebody. Okay, good. Just, okay, whoever's next, just kind of go. You can go get on your other one.
Okay.
Yeah, just,
This wants to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they're barrel horses. That's what they're supposed to do. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I got water right there. Yep, thank you. That's a really nice horse there. He's a nice horse. He's just uncomfortable. Okay, because I want to see you go slow what we got here. Okay. I don't want to get her nervous is what I'm saying, okay? Not right off the bat. Hi. You look like you run a lot. Is this your dog?
No, it's the girl who lives here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can. I do want you to go around the barrels because I want to see one time. Yes, we can watch videos. Okay. Your border collie, can you tie him up today or something? Okay, who's next? Next. Yeah. Go get your mama. Go. Shh. Go. There you go. Perfect. Okay. All right. Come on, Louise. It's a nice horse. Hey, go. Go. Get. Shh. Go. Yeah, if you have another horse, you can go get your horse. Hey, go. Get. Shoo. Okay, next. Okay. Go on, dog. Got a lot of power in that one. Oh, I know.
That's my problem. She goes in and she comes right back and catch her leaving.
Yes. Well, we're going to fix that today.
That's why I'm here.
I told y'all.
It's okay.
She thinks it's the weird.
She's ready to go. Yep. Okay. Thank you for offering me something. I appreciate it. No, I brought my Yeti thing that I got, and I've got several waters, and it's got plenty of ice in it. Thank you. Lots of potential there. Lots of potential. Lots of potential there. Whoa. Okay, next.
Where'd you put the bridle you had on the bay mare?
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Don't go yet.
Do you want me to put that on her or the...
Yeah, I want you to put this on her. Okay. I didn't really like that on her, but we'll go with this for right now. Oh, sorry, I took your reins and everything.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have any bridle reins.
Right.
I'm gonna have to have some of those.
There's a lot of potential there. Lots. Okay. All right. We're ready. Ready. Okay. 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 We're ready. Okay. 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 He's ready to go. He's like, woohoo! Okay, go ahead. This little horse. Okay, who's next? Okay, go ahead, Reagan. She's changing her horses. Y'all raise your hands who hadn't gone. You hadn't gone? Okay. Who hadn't gone? I know she has got two more here. You hadn't either? Okay, raise your hand when I say raise your hand. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hold on, stop. Whoever's going, don't go yet. Yeah.
So are you going to get on and ride?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's what I was wondering, because we brought 3 horses. I didn't know if, because
Yeah.
you have 2 saddles, so I
That's
didn't know
okay.
if we need to switch.
No, I can get on.
Saddle. And I
No.
was like, I think she's getting on.
No, I am. I'm going to get on some. Yes. Okay. All right, I'm ready now. Here, you right there that's hiding. You two. You go. You go. And then the girl, yes, you. I'm pointing at you then. Yeah, you go. I know you like to be in the back and quiet. I'm not going to let you be that way. I'm going to bring you out of your shell. You're going to enjoy yourself. I'm going to make it happen. She's the serious type, isn't she? She's the fun friend. You're the serious rule follower. She's the serious rule follower, isn't she? Okay. You're just like Jason. He's the same way. He's a rule follower too. Okay. Okay. He's like, oh God. Go ahead. Don't you just love Gildans when they're like that? Okay. All right. You got one more horse? You got one more horse? Okay. Then who's next? Do we got everybody? Susie's got an, okay, Susie, go ahead.
She doesn't know in a bit, so that's why we're here.
Okay. Okay. Rose, I want you to bring me your horse. Rose Bottom, come, yes. Bring me your horse. No, I know. It's okay. You don't have to justify nothing. I've been there, done that. Bring me your horse, Rose. Rose Bonham, bring me your horse. That looked good. Oh God. Oh God, help me. Oh God. Somebody's gonna kill me here. Okay, I need you to bring me your horse. We're good. I'm not going to forget somebody. No. Let me direct the traffic here, Rose.
Okay. Well, she was saying she's
okay.
Without me.
I'm good. How are you? Wonderful. This is Charlotte. Okay, so what we needed you to do is I need you to go around the barrels and just show me, and then I'll get with you, okay?
Okay, cool. I'm going
Just
to warm them up a little
perfect,
bit more. And
perfect.
then I'll go.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You can just go down there if you want to in that corner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Who's next? We got anybody else that needs to go? Okay. Okay, perfect.
He's pretty.
Whew, isn't he though? Mm-hmm. This must be the, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Damn, I like him. Looks comfortable.
All right, you just get over there. Here's your bit. Take that.
Throw it in the garbage can.
Nope, nope, nope. Come here. He's like, all right.
What do you think?
I'm putting a twisted hexagon with a port on it. I'll explain.
Direct traffic.
No, that's okay. Don't direct traffic.
No, I meant you. Uh-oh.
Hang on.
What the hell is that?
All right. His mouth is super little.
Who, hers?
Her mouth is super little.
It?
Oh my God.
Big.
It's little, tiny. This 5 1/4 just covers her up. Okay, who else we got? Hemi.
I was just saying you might cinch, just FYI.
Let me have this. Okay, we got everybody? Okay. All right, I want the little mare, I want you to put this on her. Fit that on her where that's pretty loose. Hey, you don't need help.
Okay.
Okay, take that off and put that on her, for her. Okay, so we're just at the trotting stage.
We're loping to there.
Okay, okay, all right. Okay, so here we are again. What I did, and Rose, I'm not calling your horse out. What I did was I'm kind of selecting the most horses that are going to take the most time, that need a lot more help than others. There's a lot of issues that I see going on here. Sorry, I'm just walking over the camera here. I'm just putting some bits on some horses. You're not being left out. I'll get to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to multitask. Let me see if that's done up right. What I've got on Rose's horse is I've got a hexagon with a port leverage bit that's a regular leverage bit. It's a 45 degree, and as y'all can tell and see, this bit is huge on this mare's face. Well, Charlotte, I thought you said we needed something that was right. Well, I can't bring every size, but we're going to see what we can get her comfortable in, or the most comfortable in, and then we're going to work from there. Now, when she gets over here, she gets real strong and resentful with Rose, and she presents that as being ugly and wanting to go. But what this mare's telling you is she's telling you that I'm uncomfortable, I don't like what's on my face, and I'm going to just run past the first barrel. This mare's got a lot of potential. Now, let me show you what I'm seeing. This is another thing that I'm going to back up here. Look at y'all's tracks. Okay, I'm going to walk your tracks. Okay? I'm going to walk your tracks right here. This is where most of you are. This is about average right here. This is average. Average tracks. Now I'm gonna walk the other tracks here. And so you can see where you're at positioning. This is what I saw about, well, probably 100% of you do. It's okay. I'm not calling you out. You're not bad. You're not inadequate. This is your tracks. See how we're coming over here? Look how far we are. Look how far we are over here. So see all the dirt that's kind of kicked up now? See, you're putting your horse in a bad position. And if you get in a spot like in a rodeo or something, or in deeper ground, that makes it worse. Okay? Now, as you can see, what I did was I just put this bit on this mare and I just walked around. This is what I like to do, and I'm going to tell you my journey through doing lessons. And the reason why I almost quit doing lessons, because people would drive up to my house, and it's not anything they did. I can't judge them as a human. They're just trying to get through life. They wake up in the morning, they kiss their husband, they put on their clothes, you go to work, you come home. You're just trying to be a good person all around, pay your bills, and you're trying to find something that is an outlet for you that you can enjoy either with your family or yourself personally to make your self-worth. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. wanting to be that way. You're not like me who wakes up and thinks about four-legged animals on a daily basis. You're waking up thinking about other stuff. And to pay attention to small details is really hard for us when life gets busy. So what I'm doing with this mare is I'm just telling her, hey, we're putting this in your mouth. What this is it's a large hexagon with a port with a cricket. And what I've done to this mare is I've just let her get comfortable. And if you can tell, when we start going a little faster, and if y'all don't mind kind of clearing the alleyway just a little bit. I'm over it. Now she's more comfortable. Look at her. I'm going to come up here. She's wanting to get strong on me, but I'm just kind of staying out of her way right now. Okay? Because I'm just going to mess with her a little bit, and I'm going to get her right back where she needs to be. And so she can get comfortable in the bit. Now look at where I'm going here. I'm going way to the inside of y'all's tracks. And like I said, I'm not judging. You're only knowing what you're educated to. That's all you know. That's all you've been taught. That's all you see. When I look at the internet, and listen, I'm going to tell you something. I respect a lot of trainers. They do a hell of a job. But when you see stuff on Facebook and Instagram, racers don't know how to control body parts with just their body. Joy is an extremely balanced rider, just like Jolene Montgomery, just like Molly Montgomery. They're extremely balanced. Most of the barrel racers that come for lessons, they have a hard time just sitting in the middle of it, of the horse. That doesn't mean you're bad. It's just, like I said, life's busy. We're dealing with a lot of stuff. Me, I'm crippled. I have rheumatoid arthritis. For me to be a balanced rider, it's extremely hard. For me to be sitting really square, and I'm old. And trust me, I'm only 46 years old, but I feel like I'm 80 most days when I get on horses. Okay, so being a balanced rider can do that. So what I'm teaching you is how to be a little unbalanced and get around a horse. And get around them where they'll work for you and stay square. So I'm just going to get this horse started a little bit. See how I'm going pretty straight this barrel? Sitting this horse up. She's wanting to turn too early, and that's why a horse will blow off the back side of a barrel right here. See, she's wanting to get her butt out and kind of swing it around here. Because she's been so uncomfortable with her face, because we've been treating the symptoms. One, her face is too small for most bits. This one's too big for her. It's not as comfortable. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. Right now, today. Nice. And I had one that ended up winning Josie Junior World while I owned him. And what I was trying to do is I was setting myself up for failure in that I was trying to set this horse up going to the barrel instead of just riding him to my hole. And so this horse would start fading on me. Easy, easy. This horse would start fading on me real bad, fading in, because what I was doing was getting the nose right here and making him off-centered going into it. You need to ride your horse straight up to the turn, because what you're doing is you are setting yourself up for failure in this. You're trying to hold that horse's front end up going way too far, which means, let me tell you, 60% of a horse's weight is on their front end. We are not strong enough to hold that long. So what you want to do is you want to ride this horse up there straight, comfortable, and square up into their hole like this. And see, they'll give it to you for a short second, but they're not going to do, you don't want to do this. Because what we're doing is we're setting these horses up for failure, and you are too, because what ends up happening when you get right here, and especially on the second barrel, if anybody's knocked over a second barrel and just run into it, what happens is you get too much pocket, too much pocket, too much pocket, and then they're like, I know I got to turn, and they go right here, either run over it or they bow off the backside. Come over here. Now, I'm going to go straight up this turn. I'm going to make this horse stay square and collected. I'm going to keep him in my hands, keep her in my hands. Keep her in my hands, because she's wanting to turn way too early and then run off on the back side of the barrel because she's so uncomfortable on her face. She's been fighting a bit way too long because we're putting more control on her and it's not fitting correctly, and so all that does is just amplify the problem. And see, she wanted to do it right there too. She wanted to move out and come in real quick instead of just staying square and going up to her hole. All right, now I got her in my hands. And why am I going past the barrels? Basically, I'm trying to keep her square up underneath me and keep that hip moving forward and not get her to kick it to the outside, because the minute I want to try to turn, she wants to kick her rear end out to the outside. Much better. She's like, oh, it's that easy. Close to the barrel. See that mare turn over her hip like that? She's like, oh, you're not putting me in a bad position. Still tried it a little there. We're going to work on that a little bit. Oh, much better. Do you see that? Much better. Much, much better. See how she kept in line, kept pushing with her hips up underneath her? So basically, and like I said, when you lope a nice, smooth circle around a barrel, that's great and wonderful. But that's not the way your horse is going to turn it. And if you look at the people who run around the barrels, it's not a full circle. It's a clover leaf, and it's a go in, go a little past it, snap back, and those are the fastest barrels, and you can tell it because Tamner Time, they've done those ghost cams. You can see what the fastest barrel is. The quickest barrel is the fastest one around the barrel. So this mare is now, see how she's dropped her, she's changed her whole demeanor here. Even though this mouthpiece is too big for her, the mouth contents are very comfortable. So I go up here, get her nose. Now, I do ask them for a lot right here and overemphasize it, and the reason is because I want them to feel that and really, really move that front end out of the way and come around. And I want to come straight, because I don't want to get over here and hang off this horse's head and do this, because I see that a lot. And then you're all this way or that way. You're setting yourself up for a bad position. So I'm going to come over here real straight at this barrel, like this. Keep her straight. Get a little nose. I don't want her to move the outside. Then lift. Come across. Oop. You'll think, well, she's going to hit it coming back. No, she won't. Not unless if you keep them close enough, they will not hit it coming back. Now, I have had one horse that can do it, and that's Fooster. Fooster's that quick. And I want a horse on the backside when I come across, I want them to come across and reach over their feet. That was another thing that Reagan's horse wasn't doing. See how this horse reaches across when I ask her to come across? This horse is broke, guys. Look how broke this horse is. But yet she's not getting the control she wants. I mean, this horse will, spin around. That horse has got good control over the top. His indirect rein is awesome. I mean, when I ask this mare to come across me, I don't have to do anything. This horse is broke. I mean, she's got some issues, but she's broke. I mean, she's broke. But yet, whenever Rose goes to run, she has no control. And why that is? We don't have control because the horse isn't comfortable in her mouth and she has no position. Okay? So position is bad and control is bad, and about 90% of the people are just like that. See how she wants to do that? She's so uncomfortable, she's immediately getting resentful. Good. All I want her to do is stop. Just stop. Well, I understand because she wants to do this because she's just, when you get on a horse and they feel like this, like a ball of nerves, and they're like this, that horse is not comfortable in their face. And if they aren't comfortable in their face, you're not going to have no control or no nothing. Okay, Mrs. Browers, where are you? Here, Rose. Here's your horse. You can get back on. Well, just a minute. I hadn't got there yet. Yeah.
Why do you like this horse versus
Okay, so on a horse like this that you're trying to get from dumping and pushing, that mare's pushing, I want a little something that I can just bounce off of them to pay attention. They know it's there. I like, and this is another thing, I like a little port over a big port. Big ports are good for training. They're horrible for running. The reason is because when you lay that port over their tongue and it's a big roping bit or a big correction bit and you lay it over their tongue like this, they tend to get resentful because they can't move. And if a horse swallows their tongue or they draw it back, they're going to get resentful and just get like this and just stiff. And I see a lot of people who are running their horses in correction bits and big old ports like that, and a barrel horse when they're running. But if you've got that little port, they'll just kind of, and it's got that cricket in it too, so they're moving that around, and so they're salivating. Yeah, they're getting their mouth, they're keeping it from getting dry. And anytime a horse gets a dry mouth like that, that's not a good sign either. Okay, let me get on your horse. Now this mare is super nervous. And this is another thing. I'm going to be adjusting some things here. All right. Now, okay. Now, this horse is a little nervous. Okay, you come over here because I want you front and center so you can hear what I'm saying. This horse is a little nervous, so we can't really do a lot of fast work on this horse because this horse doesn't really appreciate that. So, we want to kind of keep this mare just easy, and I'm going to show you a few things. You come over here on the other side of the camera there. Tell me your first name again. McKinley. Why do I keep forgetting that? Okay, McKinley, this horse is a little bitty old horse. So we want to keep this mare really nice and close. Now see, when that mare went like this mare has a little bitty face, and what I'm riding her in with is just a smooth, ultralight 45 combo. Now I'm just going to play with her a little bit, okay? I'm just going to play with her and I'm going to get her comfortable, okay? I know that thing's hitting you in the eye. I'm going to have to... If anybody's curious where all these head stalls come from, Running Roan Tack, she does amazing work. And I'm telling you, if anybody uses her stuff really hard, it's me, and it's very functionable. So that little bit that I sold you has a lot of shank to it. We're going to change what we're going to change. Okay? This little mare don't need that much shank, because whenever McKinley and her mother sent me the videos, this mare is really coming up here, and she's really trying to flip around. Go ahead. You need to get that water. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
Absolutely. Wherever you can hear. Get where you can hear. So what I'm doing is just, see how this mare is now just dropping her head, McKinley? See how she's dropping her head? She's going a little behind it. And the reason is McKinley gets excited and she wants to win. And she's just trying really hard to win. So McKinley, when you come up here with this mare, you ride her to the barrels, but you want to be, I love it. You're just my kind of gal. We're spirit animals. I'm the same way. So when I come up here, I don't want to get her and snatch her, okay? We want to be chilled, and we want to do nice, smooth, fluid motion. Now look at her. Look at her now. I know, that thing keeps hitting you in the eye, doesn't it? Bother me too. See how she's dropped her head now? See how she's much more comfortable? Now, McKinley, with these smaller horses, I'm going to tell you that these smaller horses, their strength, they're not going to outrun these bigger horses. They're not going to outrun the Fooses from barrel to barrel, but where they're going to outrun them is they're going to outrun them around a turn. So we want to gather their strengths. We want to play to their strengths, okay? So we want a tight, quick turn, okay? And this is where this mare's kind of wanting to get out and get a little fast, because you're running outside and she's really quick-footed, okay? Really quick-footed. So what I want to do with her is I want to keep her really close in. Now I go a little bit further in with these littler horses, but I don't go much further with the big horses. The big horses don't necessarily need a big pocket going in. They need a good pocket on the backside, and that's where I really reiterate that pocket. All right. Now, and we need to get you some shorter reins. These are just long reins for little old mare. And I know they don't take up much, but we're going to take them up a little. Okay. Whoop. And she's a quick one. This mare's quick-footed, so if I fall off, y'all don't laugh. Well, you can. I'd laugh. All right. So we're going to get her over here where her butt's in like this, okay? That's how you put her in, and we're going to work on that, okay? We want her leading with her, we want her pushing and driving with her hips. We're driving and pushing with her hips. What I'm doing with this mare is I'm trying to get her up underneath herself, which means I'm putting her head straight, and I'm driving this hip around here like this. This is something that I've seen Craig Brooks do, and if I misinterpret any trainer, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Don't kill me when I come next time. I've seen Craig Brooks really reiterate about driving that horse's hip around a barrel and really get them inside right here like this. This mare steps out, I want to keep her hip in. Yeah, it looks a little messy right now. It's okay. It's going to come together. And okay, so let me tell you why I'd reached for a combo on this mare. Because she wants to really get her butt to the outside, and I want this mare to stay, I want her to stay square, and that's why you use a combo. You use a combo on a horse that you want to stay square and up underneath themselves. Like this. And as you can see, we're having an issue with, we're just stopping and backing up. So, oh well, that's okay. And I'm not going to press it right now because she kind of acted like she wanted to freeze up on me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make her move her feet around. So you got to be careful about the backing up and getting them off their butt here. She doesn't want to do it, so I'm going to make her work a little bit. I'm going to make her work a little bit. Work off her hips. There we go. One step is good enough for me. As you can see, McKinley, she doesn't want to just stop. She wants to throw her head and nose up into things. She doesn't want to just stop. She doesn't want to just stop and back up. She wants to throw her head up like this. There, one step. And you know, I know we don't have time to do anything. We barely have time to say good morning in the morning, but patience is a virtue with these horses. And one thing is you got to be real careful because they will hurt you. And if you make, some horses, if you make them mad enough, they'll kill you. They're dangerous. So you got to be, there we go, good girl. And reward them, let them know. She backed up for me, she just stopped. That's all I needed. Just stop. Just stop. Back up. What I'm trying to do is just get her comfortable in what I'm trying to tell her and the signals that I'm trying to give. There we go. So when I come over here and I want to do something and handle her, she's like, oh, okay, that's what you want. I'm not so concerned about this right now because what I'm trying to do is control this, okay? I'm not so concerned. She knows how to do this, okay? What I'm working on is one body part at a time. I'm working on the hips one body part at a time. All I'm trying to do is get this mare to get her front end out of the way, stay square, stay straight, stop when I ask her to, back up, get comfortable in her face, so I can handle her a little bit. All I'm trying to worry about is getting that hip back up underneath them square. And going back to my story in lessons, why I quit lessons is this, is because people would come to me and I'd spend hours working on their horse because the horses would come, they had no face, no mouth, they were running off to the side, they were very, very, you know, and I spent hours with those people working on just their horse. I couldn't even work on them as a rider because I'd spend hours. The best thing and the reason why I went back to this is because these bits, getting them comfortable in their face, and in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I can have a horse in my hands and then I can then help their rider take them home and then learn how to do it. It's one of the reasons why I quit, because 2 hours riding a horse is a lot, especially with no stirrups, okay? When I have no stirrups, it's a lot. And it's a lot on my poor old crippled body, okay? And so, look, see, you can tell we're still not where we need to be, and so I'm just going to keep piddling. Now, there we go. Good girl. See? She's now like, oh, okay. So now we're communicating. And you got to understand, kids are kids. They are not trainers. You can't expect them to be at that maturity level whenever they're riding their horses. Remember, especially young girls. Young girls are extremely emotional. They're especially, and I'm not calling you out there, McKinley. They got hormones. You're about at that age. You're going to turn into Satan, and your mom's going to hate you till you're about 20. And you'll hate your mom till you're about 20 or 40, or till you have your own little Satans. Okay? Moms and daughters, you know, they're a lovely relationship, but it can be a love-hate. See, now look at this mare now. Now I've got her where she'll not go, Because when I sent them something that had a longer shank on it, so there's a lot of leverage there, trapped. It doesn't necessarily do that, but if that clamps down on their nose and face, that may be the reason. And you run into problems with horses that are throwing their heads. And I've been real careful when we started this combo to not let that happen and not let that nose band connect with them. Okay, so we're going to go back over here and we're going to go around the barrels again. See how she's wanting to kick her butt over just a little bit for me? Still wanting to get her butt out there just a little. We'll work on that. I can't go any faster in a trot because I will fall off. And what she did was she anticipated that turn and wanted to turn, kick her butt out. So I'm not going to mess with the front end because we've got that under control. That'll come back. That'll come back. What I'm trying to do is just get this mare where she's square underneath me. Wherever you do, you little quick-footed thing, don't lose me here. Trying to get her where she's underneath me. There we go. Much better. Stay underneath me. Good girl. See, now a horse like this, if I'd have not had the tools 2 years ago, I would have rode this mare until she was so hot and mad that we were not going to get anything accomplished. As you can see, this is a little nervous mare. Hey, she's a little nervous mare. We're not getting mad and resentful. And that's what was happening in the clinics that I was doing and the lessons that I was doing. It was not being beneficial for the horse or me or the rider. All it was doing was getting everybody hot and mad, and everybody was tired and bored and whatever. There we go. Okay. So here we go again. What I'm doing here, McKinley, this is something you're going to have to do with this mare. You see how I'm just keeping her straight and basically just plow reining her around, okay? Until I can get that hip back up underneath her, this is what we're going to do, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to keep this front end straight and keep it out of the way so the back end can move like it's supposed to. So what I want this mare to do is kind of come up underneath me. It looks ugly, but I promise you in the end, because she's not wanting to stay square, all she wants to do is just run out from underneath you is while you're running past the barrels and fishtailing everywhere. While you're not finishing your turns properly. Okay? So here we go again. Now I've got her in my hands. See, I've got her in my hands. She's in my hands, in my hands, in my hands, in my hands. Now we're going to stop right there for now, and I'll come back to you, okay? Because now you're going to ride her, and we're going to work some there. I may have to get on again, but you just hang on tight there because I'm going to work with somebody else right quick. Okay. Gray horse. Bring gray horse over here. Yep. Gray horse. All right, so what I'm putting on, do you have snaps on your reins? Yes. Okay, good. I'm going to put this short, ultralight, not ultralight, regular leverage.
Okay. No, she's running without a tie down.
Oh, she's fine. We don't have to put that on. You can take it off. Okay, now I want to show something here. I want to show something. Okay, on this bit right here, as you can see, this bit has no at all. It's just straight. This is a very uncomfortable bit for horses, especially that square like it is. It's very, very uncomfortable. So if a bit, this is what made me walk away from a bit like this. When I was looking at it, the first thing I would do would go, that's not contoured, that ain't comfortable. Especially a broken mouthpiece like this, it's very uncomfortable for a horse. Because what it does is it lays over the bars of their mouth, right here. It lays over the bars of their mouth, okay, I know. Lays over the bars of their mouth right here. This is the bars. You can see this mare is extremely sensitive. Here's the bars of your mouth right here. Okay? It lays over and it in half, when you pull, it goes up in a V. And I don't particularly like two pieces, but because I like them to be pretty round on a horse's mouth. So what happens, you can tell, this mare is extremely sensitive. And that's hitting the top of her mouth right here. It's hitting the top of her mouth and hitting her at the top of her mouth, and that's extremely, extremely sensitive area. So if I was to, we're going to take this off of her. If I was to get that, look at that bit, any bit, and it wasn't contoured, I would walk away from that bit immediately. If it didn't have the bit sleeve on it, like these do, I know. Here, let's put your little ear here. Now, why did I pick these horses? Because these horses are a little sensitive. They've got some things going. Now, this is a regular leverage. I may have to go back to a short leverage, but okay. So, okay, Avery, are you on? What's her name? Gray. Oh, okay. Huh, that's good enough. Okay, so Gray, I'm just going to walk Gray around. Gray's like, you can tell, this mare's like, whew, I'm so uncomfortable. She wouldn't even walk out. She's so uncomfortable. I mean, you can tell she's uncomfortable because she's like, when I get on these horses, and okay, watch her. Did you see her? Did you see her drop her head just then? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure, because she's ultra sensitive. Well, and that's okay. You're only knowing what your education is. And the education's out there, but there's so much of it. Okay, so Avery, come with me and follow me. Since your horse is a little green, I'm just going to show you the points. So you went to the left, didn't you? Okay, so when you come here, and this is good for people who have left-handed horses, so you know kind of go. So you just flop that over, but it's extremely hard to do the left hand because I always want to turn the right barrel like the first barrel. Okay, so we want to come up here with this mare. We're going to get a little nose, a lot of nose. Yeah, because you're a little bit further out, you need to come in a little, so get her in. Okay, get her nose just a little. Now lift really good. Now come back. Come across like this. There you go. Now she's going to have to be a lefty right now. It's okay. She'll be all right. I ain't going to mess her up. Okay, so we're going to come straight over here. She's a little watchy too. So when I get here, Avery, where the tracks cross over, see where her front feet are? I'm going to get just a little bit of nose. So you'll just, what you want to do is just kind of reach down and get a little nose. Now we also want to say that there's a concrete wall here. We don't go across. we go up, okay? Which we're going to work with that. Let me get a little nose. A lot of nose. If I can get her to move out for me. She don't want to move out. Just a little bit. She's a little bit. So when I come over here, get a little nose. Then I'm going to lift. Now you can do it two-handed since she's so green. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay on the outside of where you need to be. Okay? So you're going to go in between me. Now get a little nose. I know she's watching. Okay, now really get her nose. Lift. Lift good. Lift big. Now come across the barrel. Yeah. Now you don't want to counter arc. Don't counter arc. Just come across. Okay? Because what you want to feel is you want to feel that outside leg step over the other one. Okay? And we'll go over the points of the barrel. So point 1 is your spot where the tracks cross over. Point 2 is right where your little bit of the neck is going to go by the barrel. So this is point 1 right here, like this, point 1. Point 2 is right here to where that is, where shoulder goes. Point 3 is on the back side, and point 4 is finish. Okay? Okay. Now in order for this to work, you got to stay pretty close. I know. Okay, get her nose just a little. Get her nose. Oh, make her pay attention. Now lift. Lift good. Yes. Reach down a little more. Your reins are a little longer. There you go, because you want to connect. Now just walk. There you go. Now get her nose. There you go. Now lift. Lift big. Now come across to the barrel. Across. Just come across like this. Yeah, like literally come across. Yeah. Like just take your hands and go like you're going to feed it to the barrel. All right. Go to your spot. Get her nose. Now lift. Now come across. Yeah. See, feel that leg come across? Feel when this leg comes across like that? That's what you want to feel. Okay? All right. That looked good. I like that on her. Yeah. And that junior cow horse, it's a little different. And that's another thing. Like if bits are made in China, I'm not a fan. And I'll tell you why. Because those aren't even made out of stainless steel. They're made out of zinc plated. Zinc plated is actually poisonous. It won't kill your horse, but it's not good for be in your horse's mouth or any mouth. It's not completely stainless. So anything made in China, I would pass over immediately, unless I just thought that was the only bit that would work, okay? So when you're looking at bits and you see made in China, I'd walk away. Because, and I'm a big fan of getting USA made products anyway, but if you have a bit that's made in China, I promise you, if you were to look at it, what it is it's zinc plated, which means it's not stainless steel. Okay? So, we're going to work on this mare right here. She's super sensitive. She doesn't even want to really move out for me and come on. You know, she just wants to kind of just keep her head pointed up. And you know, there's mares that are drama queens. They're like women. They're drama. You know, we know all those people. We might be one. So see how she's wanting to fade out on me? So I don't want her to fade out, so I'm going to use my outside foot. I'm not going to get into her very much because she's like, ugh. She doesn't really want to move out at all for me with this bit at all. It's like she's scared and she's really behind the bit for me. And I don't want her to be behind the bit because being behind the bit is just as bad as being through the bit. So I'm going to work on this mare, try to get her over here. I know, baby. I'm poking you with that spur, aren't I? I tell you what I'm going to do. I know. I'm going to put an ultralight on her. I'm going to put one of these ultralights on her, just try to get a little weight off her face and make her move for me. Because, see, she's really wanting to be behind the bit. I can't even with my body, I'm trying to make her go. She doesn't want to go. That's okay. You don't have to get up. I got it. Let me put this on her right here. I know. Okay. So this is an ultralight. It's a regular. Come down here on the other side. If y'all want to come down to this other corner, don't be afraid if you can't hear. I'm good with that. Trust me, I'm not gonna judge you. You get to where you can see and get educated. Okay.
So is that typically where you ride them up in the mouth?
Yes.
Okay.
I like one wrinkle. Now this one's a little big for her. I like one wrinkle, and I like my curb chain to be pretty snug. A little bit more. What I was feeling is this mare was just really light on the front end. I don't want her to be light on the front end. So I'm just going to make her move out a little bit. You know, and she's a little bit thoroughbredy looking, so she's going to be a little light on the front end. And she's got a long neck. She's very sensitive. Come on, you're all right. See, you can tell she doesn't want to even move through the bit for me. She wants to just kind of stay really particular about her mouth, so she's extremely sensitive. So you, as a rider, have to be real careful with your hands because she's that sensitive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up here, and I'm just going to mess with her, make her just move around this barrel nice and easy. No, it ain't going to be pretty, but I'm just trying to get her comfortable and listen to me where she's not just thinking about the bit. And yeah, guess what? I'm loping big circles. You know why I'm doing that? Because what I'm trying to do is the exact same thing that you're seeing on Facebook, social media. I'm trying to get this mare to get up underneath herself and get comfortable, work a little bit. Am I going to stay training like that? Absolutely not. Because that's not our goal here. And as you can see, I've went through 3 horses doing exactly the same thing at different levels. Worse than the other. What I'm trying to do with this mare is get her where she's comfortable with her face and listening and not trying to be so counterproductive and resentful for me. And just getting her to just chill a little. And just try to ride a little through the bit so I can help her a little. Now see, now she's getting comfortable. Now we're getting closer. This is the kind of thing that you have to be careful when you look, because you got to know what you're looking at on social media or videos or whatever. See, it was a big improvement in that she now decided, oh, I need to work, and I put this mare to work. They find out when you put a horse to work that's kind of thinking about things or being resentful, if you put them to work a little bit and get their mind off of what's causing anxiety, sometimes you can bring them back down to you. So what I did was I was like, okay, forget that. You want to go close? I'm going to put you to work. When you're a little tired, you'll be like, oh, now I'm like, maybe I'll listen. So now when I come up here, now we're kind of making some headway. We're going to make some headway. Here we go again. Same thing. She's like, I don't want to lope circles around like that. She's trying to move away from me here. I don't want her to move away. Okay, fine. Feel comfortable out here? Fine. Let's try it again. There we go. Just trying to get her squared up for me. Square it up, square it up, square it up. Much better. Much better. We're still not where I want to be just yet. I'm going to go one more time and then I'm going to let her rest because she's trying now. She's moving through the bit now like I want her to, and she's going okay. She's not going to be a very bendy horse when we get her all back up underneath herself. Anyway, because she's got a real, her head ties in pretty high anyway. What I'm doing right here is I'm not doing counteract work. What I'm doing is I'm trying to promote her hip towards the barrel. Just trying to get her back on her hips. Because she is not square at all. You're not that bad short. Okay. So, Avery, come out here. Don't go away. So see how she doesn't really want to give me her nose? That's what I was seeing. I want her to give me her nose and her body. She doesn't want to be real round in her rib cage. See how she doesn't want to be round in her rib cage? There we go. Them daggum. All right, now we're rounding our rib cage. See how we're round in our rib cage here? And what I'm doing is I'm just using my, sorry, Mare, I didn't mean to hit you with that spur. What I'm doing is I'm getting her nose a little to make her round. We'll eventually get off the nose a little bit because that hip will come up underneath me. What's going to happen is she's going to stop and start getting on her, she's going to start throwing her butt out. Okay? She's not going to come and follow that nose around. So I'm going to do a little exaggeration with her because she's kind of the exact opposite of the other two horses that I got on. See how I come across right there? Now when I come here, I'm going to get her nose, and I'm asking her for her nose because she doesn't really want to give it to me, and she's looking around. I know. You're the princess, honey. She's the princess at the house, isn't she? She's the princess. I know it. I can feel it. Okay, so I'm going to come up here, get her nose. And I'm getting her nose a lot. And I said, well, I thought you said, Charlotte, we didn't want to do that. Well, eventually you don't. But this mare, she's really looking places. And I want her to give me her nose and pay attention to what I'm doing up here. So instead of lifting across, I'm trying to just get her nose and listen. Because when I pick her up, I want her to just pick up. That's all I want her to do. And she was the exact opposite because she's in line and you have her square. We just don't have enough roundness in the rib cage. Right, right, and that's fine. That's a good thing. But what I want is, see now, look at her. She's still looking over here. Come here. Look here. I want her to be square. She's square. I just want her to be a hair more round. Want a little bit more. I want a little bit more. I want her to drop her head and just give me her nose. She wants to kind of stick her nose up and not give me her nose. I got to have a little nose. Not a lot, but I want, when I pick her up, I want her to just drop her nose, not look around, drop her nose. And she's wanting to be a little pushy with this. It's okay. Yeah, I'm sure. There. And what you do is, like, I'm working in this circle like this around you. Come on, I know, princess. What I want her to do is keep continuing. She's a little stiff on the front end like this. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put something else on her. I'm going to put this other short leverage on her. Hi, Miss Janae. How are you? Where's all y'all's stuff at? Yeah? I know, but are y'all going to come ride? Oh. No. I thought they were going to come ride with me today. Okay. We're going to put this short leverage on her.
Okay.
This is a short leverage with a leather curb. With a total leather curb. It's a little big for her. That junior cow horse, it's good to kind of get one started, but as far as like the lift and stuff, and see, it's too big for her. But that's okay for just kind of doing what I can do, and then we can go back and get her where she's comfortable. Come here, little one. Sorry, I won't run over you. Much better. See now? Yeah. Now she's wanting to drop her head and come on around. Yeah. Much better. Now she's wanting to drop her head and help me a little. There we go. I think we miss that chain, and that's another thing. We'll get to the mouthpieces. A chain mouthpiece can be really good if you're very light-handed. It can also be the most severe. It's a kind of a love-hate thing. It's kind of like the Mullen mouthpieces. You know, there's a lot of people who love Mullen mouthpieces. I am not one of them because I like a little bit of nose. Now look at her. Much better. Much better. Much better. Much better. Now you get on her. Okay, Rose, get on your horse.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now we're going to try that here in just a minute for you. All right. I'm going to go back through them and we're going to work with them, and then I'm going to go to the next group. Anybody got any questions while she's getting on her horse? Okay. Same as the gray? No, gray's different.
These two are Frenchmans, and they just kind of,
Okay. They're just getting over the front end. Yes, yes. And we'll work with them. Let me get a drink while she's getting on her horse there. It's all right. Oh, yeah. Huh? Yep. Okay, Rose, let's go walk the pattern. Now I'm going to work with Rose on where to get her horse at. I get 2 hands on the reins. You're going to come right up here where the tracks cross over, right here. Okay? Nope, don't let her fade out. Come right straight to me. There you go. All right, so this is point 1. Okay? Now y'all might want to know this. So, okay. So stay right there. We got a little bit of nose here, just a little. We're going to get to point 2, and that's right here where your hip kind of lines up with this barrel because her shoulder is already past it. So this is point 2. We've got a little nose here. Now this is where I'm going to lift up and really make that rib cage bend and come up underneath and make that hip come close to me. Okay? Don't go nowhere. So that's point 2. My hands are like this, or on the saddle horn or whatever. And I'm going to really lift, point those thumbs up to Jesus till I go to point 3, which is where you are right here with your hip, because the horse is right here. Point, and then when they take one more step, I'm going to ask them to come across like this. Okay? All right. That's point 4. It's fine. Lift, lift big. There you go. Now come across. Good. Now go straight, straight, not straight at it. About where that A is on that Ultra Cruise. Okay, now stop right there at point 1. Keep going. You're a little further. Right there. Whoa, point 1. Right where this horse's front feet is. This is point 1. I'm going to get a little nose. Go to point 2, right here where the shoulder is, where your shoulder is. Then I'm going to lift. I'm going to come right here like the X, point 3, across. Okay? Lift, lift big, lift. There you go. Now come across. Good. Same thing on the 3rd. The back side of it is where the cross is. There you go. Good. Good, good, good. Point 1, get her nose. Point 2, lift, lift big. Okay, so right there, we want to lift. I'm going to make her really lift and come like this. Really cup up underneath herself and come way out here. Lift right there. Now come across. Come across. Okay, good. I want to go straight. No nose at all. Straight. No, because you can't lift. Them horses are going to start. You're not giving them any release. You're lifting, you're putting them off balance, so immediately they're going to start pushing into you. You want to come straight to your point, like you're just driving in a straight line. Well, now on the first barrel, it's not a straight line. This pen is pretty wide, and you got a wide alleyway, so you want to come down the alleyway right in the middle, kind of come over here. We don't want to go straight like this, because what happens is that ends up being a box. We want to kind of shoot our horses right here where they've got a little bit of a good angle. Kind of like the 3rd, but not really. You know, so I want to get right here, go to the saddle horn and just sit. No, you want their hip kind of in like this. No, you want their hip kind of like this, but they're kind of at an angle where it makes it conducive to their body. They can get in and get out real good. Okay, now you trot it. I tell you what I'm going to do on this gray mare. I'm going to let him work first because he's got that leather curb. I want to put that leather curb on her. Okay. Oh, we're good. Thank you. Now keep her straight. Get her nose a little. Lot. Lift, 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 lift. Now come around. I'm right in the way, aren't I? Okay. Good. Lift, lift, lift. Now come around. Good. I hear them rollers going back there. Lift, lift, lift. Come around. Finish the turn. Go across. Don't keep lifting on the back side. All right. Well, the next thing I'm going to do is take up your reins.
Reins alone.
Yeah.
I thought it was just me.
No, it's not you.
I don't know how they got.
All right, now.
Because I had that
Yeah.
short shank bit.
Now, hand me this bit. All right, so now I want you to lope. You see how comfortable she is now in her mouth? As you can see, when I first started this mare in the first, she was just like, la, 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 with this, and I think this is a Fred Hunter, which is fine. I mean, I don't know anything about these bits. But she has quit trying to just run off. She's now comfortable in her mouth and now listening to what Rose wants her to do. Good. Because when she first tried to take her over here, this mare was all like, oh God, here we go again. See, there you go. Look at that. Perfect. She's still popping her head a little, but that's okay. She's going to get more comfortable. Perfect. Now I want you to go a little faster. I want you to try to go a little faster. Okay? Now, I'm telling y'all today and tomorrow and for the next 30 days until you get your hands right and listening, it's not going to work perfect. And it may go south, but don't give up. It takes 30 days to make a habit, 30 days to break a habit. Okay, go a little faster. Go ahead. Go ahead so you can feel it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Now, how did that feel? How'd that feel? See, she quit trying, and even though that bit is huge on her,
I can feel it
it's huge on her because that deal's coming all the way back because that bit is so big on her. But this mare has been so uncomfortable that she is literally giving you the middle finger if she had one. Because she's like, hey, finally somebody's listening to me. So it's so important to listen to your horse and go, I don't understand, because when this mare, when I watched her, she came out of she was just like this, you could tell, which that doesn't bother me. A lot of horses get anxiety because they know they're fixing to run. But the minute that Rose took off, that mare took the bit and she was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. This is uncomfortable. It's big. It's bulky in my mouth. It doesn't feel right. And so she is uncomfortable. She can't think about what she's supposed to be doing out here, okay, at all.
It's not really unnatural. I don't know if you just, because you're sitting there going, okay, kind of shove it forward.
Yes.
I didn't feel like I was having to think a lot about.
Right. Well, and that's another thing is,
I don't know.
Okay, so I had to do a lot of sports psychologists because when you get to a level that I've had to run at, you got to be the best at everything. Your body has to be the most in fit. Your mind has to be able to handle different variants. You literally have to go and do all of these things to treat yourself and your horse as an athlete. So in order to be the best trainer, the best jockey, you have to get your horse's mind in order, you have to be their psychologist, and you have to be your psychologist, which means get your mind in order. And one thing they did say, you should never put more than 3 to 5 things that you're supposed to do in a run. And while you're working slow, not only are you preparing your horse, you're preparing yourself. So what I tell people is go home, walk the pattern, and make yourself think. Don't think about what's for dinner. Don't think about the laundry in the basket that needs to go in there, about the kids we're going to beat when we get back in the house because they were on their phone or the Xbox or they were saying what the hell. We need to think about be present when we're on a horse. So when you hear somebody say be present, that's what that means. So when you walk the pattern, you want to think 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to think about these things because not only are you training your horse, you're training your muscle memory to do it so you're prepared, because they're like, I don't know what happens when I get to a barrel race, Charlotte, because when I get there, that brain sucker takes my head and it sucks my brain out. I can't think. Well, you're never going to be able to think. That's the problem. You're trying to think. You can't. It's muscle memory. So when you're at home, you need to work on that. Now, when we get done with these other 2, we'll measure her mouth, and I'll direct you to that bit.
Okay.
So you can get it ordered.
Okay.
Yes. Now, do you have any questions for me?
I do on approaching barrels, and I think I've asked everybody I can think of. So you're talking about these pins. So on a pin that's this wide,
yes,
you more or less need to kind of come up the middle.
Well, okay, so when you've got a wide pin like this, when you've got a wide pin, and I always tell people, go look down the alleyway, you want to start on the right-hand side of the first barrel. It's going to change from pin to pin, and what you look at, this is kind of a shorter pin, but it's real wide this way. So if you had one that was real close, you want to make sure and go really straight down the middle of the pin and then over. But one like this, I'm going to come on the right-hand side. And so when you go to north side, I don't like coming from way back in the back, because what happens is those horses' focus gets way down the end of that pin at north side. So you want to have them ready and kind of take off about where it says the stockyards and have them in your hands and kind of get their nose a little. So when they come out that alleyway, you want to see it, instead of taking them straight, because they're going to go way down there, because that's where you're pointing them, and they're not prepared, because they'll get a couple of big old strides and they'll shoot past it and not ever see it, and then they're like, where are we?
So
yeah. Okay, now it's your turn. Abry. On Princess, what's her name? Pepper Princess. Go Pepper Princess. There you go. Okay. Good. Bring her in a little to the barrel. You're going a little bit wide. There you go. Now get her nose. There you go. Good. See there? She gave it to you that time. You're used to having to drive her past it, aren't you? Okay, now get her nose right there. Make her pay attention. Take her around it again, because she didn't. She just kind of stiffed you. No, don't be sorry. That's my fault.
No, I just didn't know, and I didn't want to interrupt.
No, you should have. It's okay. It wouldn't have made me mad.
Itty bitty, isn't she?
She does have a little mouth.
Probably a 5-inch.
Oh,
She's actually a 5-inch. Let me put one of, hang on just a minute. Let me put one of these on her, because I want to see. I think she's a 5-inch. 5-inch, yep.
All these that you have are 5 1/4?
5 1/4, yes. And you're okay with the next group? And then we'll get both of your horses in.
Yes.
I do apologize.
No,
This is the
I'm
first.
sorry.
No, it's fine. What was your name?
Carolyn.
Please get Carolyn what?
Slamak.
Okay. Get with me.
Okay. I have to be gone by like 1:30.
Okay.
So another hour.
Okay. We're almost done. Well, you got 2 other horses, but we'll get with it.
I didn't know. If I would have known, you are amazing. I have to tell you, I'm going to be talking about you for days. Girl, I had no clue. You are going crazy. You do too much.
Well, thank you.
Amazing. I so appreciate you. And I'm the one that said that, or you're the one, we talked that I can
Okay.
come to your house.
Yes, you can.
You can help me. And I can post you all over Facebook and so
Thank you.
Instagram. And to all my other horse barrel.
People?
Yeah, because I'm from El Paso, but we just moved out.
Moved here? Okay. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Already did it.
Oh, wow, not turning enough.
Okay, so I put a leather curb on this mare because she's real reactive to a bit. You come down here and stand over here. We're going to do you too. Okay? Did I give you a curb? Okay, I did. All right. So you go ahead and try. Let's walk up here. So you're going to come in here, right here. Same thing. Don't get her nose. Keep her straight. Now get her nose a little. There you go. Good. Now see what the difference the leather curb did? Now she's a little bit out. We want to keep her up underneath herself. Okay, go to the second barrel.
Yeah, she has trouble doing that.
It's okay. Don't get her nose right there. That's too far. There you go. That's too far away. You want to get up there straight. Go ahead. Go the second. Go the third. She's like, I'm over this. Yes, you want to get closer. Get straighter in. Get straighter in. Straighter in. There you go. Good. Good. Like that. Keep her up underneath herself. Yeah, good. Good. Much better. Now do you feel that? We're not like this. Okay, now you understand what I'm saying. You feel she's now up underneath her. See how she was going over here and she was walking around herself like this? Okay, try it again.
Working with that back foot.
Right. Okay, so let's go around, come around right here. Keep her in. You're going way too far out. See how far you are? You want to come right up in here. Okay. Right up in here, like this. You want to come right up in here. Okay. Stay right in between me. There you go. Don't get too far out. There you go. Better. She's still wanting to get that back in, run around her. Okay. All right. Go straight up in there. Not at the barrel, just a little bit on the side. There you go. Much better. We're getting better. We're getting better. Better. Okay, so let's lope it now. That'll help her kind of get up underneath herself a little bit. Okay, Reagan, which horse are we going to ride next? The sorrel? Reagan? Jackson? Reagan? Keep going. Keep her up underneath herself. Good. There you go. Much better. Oh, yes. She's getting it. See, that's much better. So what I think with her, she needs one of those ultralight shorts at a 45 degree, and you need to get a leather curb with her, and that'll help her, and you can work that way with her, because this is a regular leverage, and I'd rather have her a little shank.
Okay.
With the leather curb.
Ultralight.
Yep. Short.
45.
Yes. And if anybody has any questions after what I sent them, and we need to measure her mouth, so we'll measure all three here in just a minute. Okay. Reagan, did you leave? No? Her horses are right there. Oh, she went and got, okay. We'll go on this one. Here. Okay. Now let's walk. You walk by me. Walk behind me. Hands, you don't need to put them like this. Put your hands up here like that. There you go. Give her a little bit of, you had her crank down. Like, oh, she's going to run. I know it. She's going to blow. Okay. There you go. Go ahead. Better. See how she feels up underneath you? She's not going like this. Okay? Now we're going to trot. Now I'm telling you to stay up here, but I want you to keep your hands forward. You're down here like this going, oh God, she's going to blow. All right, go over here. Hey y'all, thanks for joining us at our first J&C Bit Clinic. We hope that we've helped you get a better idea of how to communicate with your horse better and give you ideas on things that you can do better for your horse and with your horse to make you reach your goals as a barrel racer. If you want to get a hold of us, you can go to our Facebook page at J&C Bits. You can go to our Instagram page at J_C_bits. You can email me at jandcbits@outlook.com, or you can call or text me directly at 254-592-2041. Thanks, y'all, and we'll see you down the road.